Go.
We're being bribed by the government.
No, we're not.
We're being bribed by the 1%.
No, we're not.
We're being bribed by lizard people who live in pyramids.
No, we're not.
See,
Welcome to our anniversary of Barrel Vision podcast. It's been a year, technically. Right?
I hope you've got a drink to hand and a hand to drink. I drink hands.
Okay. Bit of a weird revelation to have. We are here today to talk because it's a podcast. I feel like you probably would have gotten that by now. Yeah, but been a year. I think this is the 46th episode, right?
Yeah, it actually is. I don't know how you knew that. I don't know.
Because I remembered.
Well, that's right. 46 weeks. That's how many are in a year. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a bit of maths, you can count how many weeks we missed.
8.
But all right.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think probably 2 of them were you on holiday.
Yep.
A couple of them we just didn't feel like.
That was mainly towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we didn't hold ourselves as responsible at the beginning. Then, I mean, recently, we couldn't do one. But yeah.
Well, it's a bit worse than that recently, I'd say. I'd say our cadence of late has been pretty fucking abysmal. So because last week was a disaster. You know what happened there, and the week before we didn't do one. So for that, I want to apologise, and we're gonna make it up to you right now because this one's gonna be 7 minutes long.
Wow, are we not already there? Are we?
No. Why would you really think we would be at 7 minutes already? I mean, I could have been recording for longer, I suppose, but I hadn't been because you were just talking about how broke you are, and that's not very interesting.
Why'd you out me like that?
But Tom's broke as well, it's fine.
No, he ain't. No, fuck right off.
He said he's pressed for money.
He's just not getting much money. He has lots of money.
Then he can shut up. I mean, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not getting any money either.
Yeah, but you don't.
My last 200 in my bank account.
All right, but what about your stocks account?
I'm down to my last 3,000.
Exactly.
Mm.
Fuck off.
Yeah, die in a fire.
Shut up, Harry.
What?
You've got like that much in loan.
But more than that.
Exactly.
Kiss my ass. Or not.
Oh, so loan something.
Well, so part of the reason we wanted to maybe do better this week is also because there won't be one next week. I will not. Yeah. When I recorded the build showcase, it's going to go up on Tuesday. I accidentally said at the beginning I won't be in the country at the time that you're watching this, which obviously isn't true because I will still be in the country. I'm just going somewhere else, somewhere a lot fucking nicer. Because frankly, I don't even feel like saying the place because I feel that's just a bit weird. But either way, it's probably the nicest place in England. Actually, that probably narrows it down.
Say it's the coldest place in hell. It's not saying much.
I feel like the coldest place in hell is saying something. I mean, we assume hell to be quite warm, don't we?
Well, it depends because there are parts in some hells. There's literally like frozen hell.
Some hells.
That's where like Lucifer is. Dante's Inferno.
That's pretty cool.
In like a frozen state.
I want some kind of 9 circles of hell type feature in Deep Rock. I don't know what that would be. That could be a deep dive, couldn't it?
Like a divine comedy mission.
What?
Delve in. Well, I think that's what it's called. Dante's Divine Comedy. I'm pretty sure that is what. And then first one was Inferno.
You would call it Full Auto Inferno. You would call it.
And I don't remember the heaven one.
Heaven
Basically,
and hell.
Yeah. We talk about beers, right? We had this one in the back pocket for a little while.
Yep.
I guess we've saved it for a special occasion.
Can't drink beer. It's sinful.
Well, they're not all beers, are they?
Is drinking beer sin?
Or some are lagers.
Well,
Is drinking a
well,
lager
it
a
can't
sin?
be. It can't, if it is,
Specifically.
that's how you know Christianity is bullshit. If it is, because obviously they all drink wine. So that means, as far as I'm concerned, there's no moral reason why alcohol shouldn't be completely on the table.
Yeah, no, you're
Where else
allowed
would
to
you put the
drink,
alcohol?
but you're not allowed to be an alcoholic in the Bible.
Well, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone, so that's fair.
So is that like a strict number? More than 3 wine cups a day, and you go straight to hell. No remorse.
Yeah.
See you later.
It's like overindulgence. You're not allowed to do that.
Does that mean also you can't also be a bread
Breathe and
addict?
die.
Would that be equally bad if you're
I
addicted
think
to
that's
bread?
just called being hungry and a wheat farm, right? I think that's like
No, it's called being fat, eating more than you need. If you're in enough, like you're just eating till you're full, then that's
being a
fine.
glutton.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the
One of the
that's the thing.
sins.
And you're also not allowed to
Yeah.
be intoxicated. Like, so you could drink, but not enough that you're gonna be drunk.
I don't know what's so
heavily.
sinful about sloths. I don't quite get it.
Doing nothing is often worse than doing something.
I meant sloths.
not a
What's wrong
saying.
with sloths?
They do nothing. Those lazy fuckers. They need to get off their
Anything to
mossy ass.
economy.
Uh,
What do sloths contribute to the economy?
Sloths.
Nothing. Get rid of them.
What?
Sinful.
Get rid of them. They don't contribute to
Yeah.
economy, therefore sinful.
it's like hell. You've got layers of hell depending on the crime, and sloth is literal. So it's just an entire layer of hell filled with sloths.
That's awesome.
That's like it.
Is there those giant sloths there? The giant one.
Maybe, yeah.
Why wouldn't they be?
I know, yeah, but it'd be a bit creepy because, like, imagine, you're going through hell. You enter this floor, and there's like sloths everywhere. The floor, the ceiling, the walls, caked in sloth, and you're like, this is a very weird place. But at least it seems relatively safe. I almost said slave there because
That's fine. I get it.
and then you hear like a bit of a thudding coming along, and you see this Goliath creature, reminiscent of a sloth, but far removed, looking it towards you, fucking like sprinting towards you with giant claws, and then you realize, oh yeah, you're in hell.
The Pokemon. It's a fucking
and that
Pokemon, man.
Should be a deep rock mission. Sloth hell.
Sloth hell. Oh my god. I do want sort of like I don't know. I want more wasteland type biomes, even though I mean I feel like a lot of them are that. I mean, how many are really that? Like, really, it's just the exclusion zone's really the only wasteland, if you're being honest. No, actually, that's kind. Which one?
Salt pits.
Salt pits. Yeah.
It's like, it's if an ocean evaporated.
Yeah,
right?
but it's not the same aesthetic as like a dried up ocean in the real world. The exclusion zone's got, it's got the trees do a lot of the lifting there, I think, to make it look like a wasteland. The dead trees. It's pretty good thing they got going on.
Dead trees makes it feel a little bit less of a waste.
Dead trees, though. Dead trees is the most wastelandy thing I can think of.
Trees could live there in the first place. How wasteland can it be?
I don't know, man.
Right? Salt pits don't even have trees. They have cubes
of salt
and crystals.
Do you think the San Bosco corridors are missing cacti? I think that should be a thing.
I don't think they're missing cacti, but I don't know why the what's the forest one?
Hollow Bough or
no.
Fungus Bogs?
No.
Azure Weald.
No.
Dense Biozone.
That's the one.
If you said no to that one, I would have just stopped because I don't know where you could have. I don't know what other one you could have been referring to.
Because dense biozones essentially have cactuses, right? I mean, the
Stachycactus.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of them being a bit more like the red vines.
What? Shut.
Honestly, I know that's correct, and I've known it's correct for pretty much most of my life. But cactuses sounds better to me still. I don't know if you agree.
Everyone fucking agrees.
Do they?
Anything that is multiple, it sounds better if it's got an S at the end, right? That's like
fungi.
English nature. Fungi's.
Fungies.
See, it sounds better.
Fun guys.
Point proven.
Point and click.
High five.
No.
Ow.
Did you just high five your face?
No, my thigh.
That shouldn't hurt. Wait, it can. It can hurt. That can definitely hurt.
You hurt my hand.
Don't.
My steel, muscly thighs repulsed me. No, wait, my hand. And it shattered my hands in pieces.
Pieces.
Reese's pieces.
It's like Doctor Strange's hands.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Drinks.
Beers. Are they all beers though? They can't all be beers. What is? It can't be.
Leaf Lovers not a beer, right?
No. And I think Burning Love or Flintlock's Delight, one of them is just gunpowder mixed with beer. So it's still beer.
No, that one is beer.
That one's definitely beer. All the Oaths is definitely beer. Dark Morkite isn't a beer because Dark Morkite can go.
If it's like Glyphid mixed with like vodka.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh no, well hold on. I think it's Gut Wrecker is even I think it's Gut Wrecker is a energy drink, or that might be Glyphid Slammer. One of them's like an
is what I call my penis.
You what?
Thank you, Thomas.
What is
being a
Gut Wrecker
part of Thanks for living up to the agreement that you'd be a net positive to the experience.
I think he is
net positive.
You know what? I got a positive on the other day.
HIV.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't pass anything.
What?
With many prostitutes, so I could be positive at least one thing.
There's
so I can
something
pass at least one
about
test.
my life. Yeah, so I mean,
WTF?
Right, are we going to be talking about like everything?
Yeah,
No.
I don't know where you start. I guess you start with the bar. Leaf Lovers.
Ones. Oh well, yeah. Let's start with the normal basic bitches, right?
Corporate
Lovers, Oily Oath, and Glyphid.
Yeah.
Slammer.
Those are your trifecta of basic ass. And I think people generally kind of get the gist of Leaf Lovers, right? Don't fucking drink them. Cut it out. Do something other than that.
We don't. No. Hold on. We don't endorse that.
I ain't drinking a fucking Leaf Lovers.
You don't have to. I don't think there's ever actually good reason to, but careful because some people are genuinely toxic about that.
You can not go into a mission drunk.
Yeah, but you could also throw yourself into the barrel hoop that kills you and de-drunks you, or you drink a knockout stout that de-drunks you. Either or.
De-drunks.
Better than a Leaf Lover.
De-drunks. There's a word for that, Tyler.
Up. You got what I meant, did you not?
Of course I did.
Exactly. So what's the point?
Of course I did.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you see the purpose of it in game, right?
Yeah, get drunk. Oh, right, Leaf Lovers.
And being drunk does kind of suck in missions. It makes playing the game quite hard. Mainly for anyone other than Driller.
See, I'm gonna have to disagree because obviously you mentioned the barrel hoop thing, and we have blackout stouts. I think Leaf Lovers are kind of actually there to get you insulted because that's what the dwarves would do. It's also there. It's like it's obviously I mean it's more of an in-universe role than anything else because obviously there's ways to sober up without having a Leaf Lovers. It is actually there because. It says it's there to please management, so it's like
Plus, whenever you order them, your dwarf's like, "Oh, can I have it watered down?" Like they put on like a high pitched like nerd emoji voice, right?
Actually,
like you are not encouraged to avidly enjoy Leaf Lovers.
No,
the community.
Encourage you. Well, how do you feel about that? Because there's no should you kick someone for ordering Leaf Lovers specials?
No.
But
you just don't drink it. And if there's a daily special that you want to play, then get him to drink all of it. Like, type in chat, no matter where you are, you can do that. Type in chat, drink all those fucking leaf lovers right now. And let you watch as he sits there and he drinks all of them. Like,
I don't know, man.
Like back in the day, and like this is like I think it's old pop culture at the very least. Like you get caught smoking, you have to smoke the entire pack, and that'll teach you a lesson. And realistically, that only probably got them addicted. But that was like it's supposed to be like you don't like it now in like excruciating excess.
That's horrible.
That's what you do to those people, right? You get them to drink all of the leaf love, and now they never will again. They've tasted too much, and then you can go get whatever you want. Or you can leave. If you just wanted him to drink all of them just for the sake of him learning a lesson, that's awesome. But don't kick them. Kicking them, they'll never learn their lesson. All right.
Look, it's all going to change. It's all going to change in support of Part 3 rolls around. So obviously, the discussion about that idea alone is a bit of an abstract one because obviously it's like, would that even happen? And I would say, I think if we get to 10 years, it will at least happen by then. But I don't see why it would happen before either. But then it's like, okay, so will it definitely be leaf lovers? And I would say maybe not. It could be blackout stout. That's the only other option, though. I think it's the only other.
Like honestly, if we get to 10 years, I don't think you can comprehend how much money would be in DLC at that point, right?
Good lord, they just don't stop, do they?
If not already there, right? Like 2 supporters cost more than the others, and then there's like 5, 10, 8, I would say. Other deals.
I don't think there's 8. I mean, at the same time, I always doubt. I doubt it every time you say it's like almost 100 or something. I'm like, I'm not sure about that, but I don't know if I can really like say I'm not sure about that anymore. I feel like it must be at least closer to 100.
Roughneck, fucking.
Why are you trying to do this?
I don't know.
All right, Megacorp, Dark Future, Roughneck, Dawn of the Dread, Rival Tech, Robot Rebellion, and Biohazard. That's 7.
7. Each of them costing £8 each. Pretty sure the price.
7 or 8? I don't know. Let's say 7.
So they're like, I don't know what that would be then. Like 60, 70 quid. With the other ones, we're sitting at around 80, 90 quid total with the other support. So very close to 100 quid in DLC. Obviously, they go on deals often. Shitting on Ghost Share, I'm just saying. That we get another 5 years of seasons, each season giving us a DLC, each DLC costing another 5 quid. If we go by 2 seasons a year, which apparently is generous, we will have by then what? Fucking 10?
I'd be really surprised if they can keep that up. Like, fuck
like
me.
Another 80. So that'd be approaching 200 quid. Then if they added another DLC, it'd probably hit 200. Like another thing. That is a lot for DLC, right? But all completely optional as well.
It's weird. The only problem I have with that is how many armors are in DLC. That's it.
Yeah.
Because obviously framework is no issue. There's always because there's a framework every season, right? But armors we're fucking left in the dust. Like I thought. It's just it is another bit of an example of them once again not making things easy themselves or not making them as easy as they could be. Where I would have put something like the base hazmat suits as like an armor you could unlock or something. As in that's like the bait underneath the biohazard one. You see the hazmat suits around the space rig, and it should just be very plain, but people would still like it. And it's like, but there's no way to get it. Or that could even have been in the biohazard pack, and it's like, and you could have like a toggle where you just get rid of all the accessories or whatnot, but you don't even get stuff like that. I think, and they've talked about it. They did say something about there's a lot of armors in DLC. I think those are the words they used. they didn't say there's too much necessarily, but they acknowledged that there's a lot of armor in DLC.
Yeah, and they acknowledged that it had been a while since they added it to the game. Normally,
it's definitely due, and I think
sure how they. Well, no, the issue is, Harry, is it since they did it at Christmas, right? They added an armor set at Christmas, the elf stuff. So, is it due? Or obviously, I think the vast majority of people say that barely counts.
It doesn't count.
You still can't add it normally. It's not part of the normal pool. However, the question is, do they think?
No, I don't quite think they do. I think they view it as like, even though it's in the same slot, I think because of the way it's done. And actually, I don't mind this as long as they acknowledge it, where it's like it's a costume, not an armor set, and that's why it's forced colors. I think I would actually count it if you could change the paint job, because that's all I need, and there's just no reason not to do that. It would actually make it a used armor set, possibly.
I have what I look.
It's possible. It'd be a lot easier if you could put paint jobs on it.
You've got to lean into it. I don't think it would change much. It is a goofy ass thing. But,
well, if it's difficult, then I agree. But it seems like it's already there. You know, it seems like it's automatic with the way it would work. But I think when skins are automatically applied just through like the algorithm of the color mapping, it doesn't always work. They would have to tweak it, but I can't see that being most paint jobs. They would have to tweak. Most of them are probably automatically what they need to be.
About that is that obviously you can't change that color, but it does overall the thing for the helmet, right? It's basically like you're using.
I mean, I would even take just that paint job. I think, you know, obviously you could argue they went too far in adding it, and I would actually definitely agree. But they didn't go far enough, considering they did add it, because they either should have had it be able to be more customized, or at least given us the paint job as well that it uses. I think at least one of those things is missing. At least one of those. It should have had at least one of those options. Because that's just more, I mean, especially like the paint job that it comes with, like the base paint job, because that's just another thing to unlock that they can put in like the sign or something. That's just like, come on, guys. It's right there. Help yourselves out. More content. It's right there.
Leaf Lovers, Elf, get up. Made in heaven. By that I mean, weird.
I suppose you can cosplay as an elf, and that makes drinking Leaf Lovers okay.
You guys have strayed a little bit from the podcast topic.
We always bring it back around. You don't have to worry about that. We're professionals now. We've been doing it for a year.
Well, Tyler, we aren't professionals.
We've been doing it.
No, we literally can't be professionals. You have to be making money.
Doing it for a year. So we know what we're doing. All right. And we're gonna move it on to, and this might take far too long if we keep it up this, but Oilios now. We go up via drink strength. Oilios of the three, I find the least appointing. In the
Idiot.
I mean, they're like just safe.
That's the point, though. That is absolutely the point. It is just.
I know, but you could so easily ignore the drunk effect, right? That's what Leaf Lovers are for. That's what jumping in the rings for. That's what Blackout Stouts for. Like, getting drunk isn't that big of a deal. It requires you to have a beer that specifically is for...
Oily Oath is for role-playing.
I guess, but...
I think realistically...
for better role-playing.
Yeah, but Oily Oath just doesn't get you drunk. It's just your role-playing, just coming back from a mission and having like a refreshing drink.
Drunk.
What?
Like if you drink like 3 of them, actually get you drunk.
I think 3 of them will probably do it. But 1 or maybe 2 won't. Obviously 1 won't. That's safe. And I like that. I also really like the original mug, and enough people liked the original mug too, because that's part of it, right? That is actually that's almost the point of Oily Oath, actually, is that mug. So I'm glad that people
the most fantasy element in the game tied to dwarves being dwarfs.
Yeah,
right?
It's yes,
being dwarfs, and that mug being like an iconic tavern mug.
Yes, I was going to say tavern. It's like from a tavern, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of its role, just as from the drink selection, is to be that one. So you can just have that, which is why it is really good that they added that toggle. I mean, it felt obvious to me, and it's something that makes me just wonder sometimes. I think there's so many things that are so obvious to do, but you know, I can't put myself in their shoes.
And the thing is, though, is that they could have done that throughout the entire time that Supporter 1 has been the thing, right? That has never not been something that could have been useful. But once again, it took people shouting at them to do it, right? And weird, right?
I think I just think it's just their size and resources means they have to have a very limited focus at any given time, and it must be, because otherwise it's just I can't really rationalize it. Other than oversight, which is always possible.
I genuinely think Ghost Ship, because of their size, overlooks a lot of things. That's why when people do stuff like this, I'm like, hey, why isn't there a switch on and off thing for this? Like, oh shit, yeah, Like,
well, I don't think they have a problem with that though, because that does mean it's a more community led decision as well. And I feel like, given that, I guess a lot of what we're getting with updates isn't entirely community led. I guess you could point out everything that the seasonal model, the minimum amount of content that brings, isn't inherently a community led thing. It's not like the community is going to ask for a performance pass every update, but that's something that they're doing now. And so I think they need to still. Some things have to come from the community, and that's good. I don't think they want to take. I actually don't think they want to take the initiative all the time, because they don't go off what the community says as much as they used to anyway. So they sort of let these things get through and let people suggest them instead. I mean, at the same time, and that doesn't mean they already thought of it, because I don't think they did. But I just mean that's why it wasn't like at the top of the list, like adding a toggle for the support edition.
Yeah, that's just the issue though. Is that like it takes like something that kind of should already be. If not enough people make a hissy fit about it, they won't add it, right? Like it's just simple things like that. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but it's like it makes sense, because at least in that context, you know that you're pleasing people, right? Yeah. And so it's a bit of a weird thing to sort of navigate mentally, but I don't think it's actually that bad. I mean, it was also I don't know how I feel about the actual supporter mugs in general, though, to be honest, because the Clifford Slammer one is old as hell. Right, so it kind of just looks a bit boring, but the Oily Oaf one, I inherently prefer the original mug. What?
I barely remember what
the original ones, where it was literally just like a bland mug with like an orange badge on it.
What? That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, that's literally no. The Clifford Slammer is the one with the teeth.
Yeah, they got like a mouth going around.
Just a bland mug with a bit of purple and a green badge on it.
What?
And the Leaf Lovers was another one with just a green.
Well, the Leaf Lovers hasn't changed. That's the one that hasn't changed at all.
No, they added more colour to it.
I don't know if they did. But yeah, the Leaf Lover hasn't changed. I think all of the craft beers did have mugs like that at the very beginning or something, and then they did like a mug overhaul at one point.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Mug overhaul.
That mug overhaul was really thrilling.
It was, though.
It was pretty cool. The mugs actually looked good.
Yeah, unlike
basic fucking things ever.
Well, the daily specials aren't bad, are they? Because they all have like.
We're not touching that yet.
No.
We're not touching the fucking daily specials yet. That's not happening. I'm not allowing it.
All right. Well, okay. Oily Oafs are done. We're just going through these one by one again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oily Oafs, they're funky. The Clifford Slammers are for people that want to get fucking wasted the good old fashioned way, right?
Yes.
Fuck it. Let's do this.
I'd say.
I mean, you've done that a good couple times.
That's the thing. That's obviously true, but I'd say.
Oily Oaf is for the functioning alcoholic.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Clifford Slammer is for the non-functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. Oily Oaf is for the one who has a quick beer before the mission and can still go in and complete it. Clifford Slammer is for those who want to get pissed before the mission.
I mean, I'd say there is kind of a step up from Clifford Slammer, which is just not, and it's not Blackout Stout. That's the final step. But Gut Wrecker, it just makes you burp, but it's stronger than Clifford Slammer, and it just makes you do a massive burp. I see that as a pretty. It's like still one of the craft beers, but it's just
use bulbs,
not hard cash.
Or like the craft materials, which I guess we should talk about, right?
Oh my god! Well,
we probably could. Moving on to craft beers, the actual.
Spoke about that, I swear, in a podcast about what to do with them, because we just have excessive amounts of them.
Oh, the ingredients.
I fucking love it. I love them so much. They are my favorite feture in the entire game, and I don't even like spending them. I think that's.
Yeah, because you're a fucking barley bulb hoarder.
I just love the tons of these random little shit fucks that do basically nothing. It's pointless, but it's so nice to just pick up and gather. You get like 1 or 2 of them per mission if you're fucking lucky. Maybe you get like 10. Some of them like.
I mean, I'd say you can get about 10 ingredients on a mission. That's probably not unreasonable overall.
No, they're really.
I mean, I've got 5 barley bulbs before.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've got. I don't know how many barley. Probably sitting around 1,000.
I think I've got about 5.
Maybe.
I got...
Yeah, it's good you're out here using them.
I got like 300.
Yeah, it just so nice.
You not using yours actually is somehow linked.
It is linked.
No, I think Harry just doesn't play enough. I think that's what it comes down to. He doesn't gather enough barley bulbs.
I gather barley bulbs. I do not leave barley bulbs behind.
Nobody. I don't. I know this is something I've never heard anyone talk about. Speedrunners, do they pick up those stuff? Right? Because there is no
ones, fine.
benefit.
But if they don't pick up the barley bulbs,
yeah, there. Yeah.
No, they don't. Look, they don't. I'm going to tell you why. Because speedrunners are all autistic, and the ingredients don't help. So if they don't help, it doesn't matter if they don't hinder. If they don't help, they're not going to do it because they're autistic, and all they care about is time.
And I don't think you're insulting them. I think it's kind
I
of.
am. Like Sonic fans. That's where it comes from. That's why Sonic fans are all autistic. Because they got to go fast.
Do people even speedrun Sonic? You don't see that often. You see Mario's, but not Sonic's.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just it takes like no time at all. But I'm not sure if they'd want to go like their way to go. But yeah.
Well, it's like it's not. You don't know the layout of the cave when you get there. The chance of you just walking through one is pretty high. So
yeah, but normally there are some like on the ceiling in like the spawn room, any room, and that you kind of have to go out of your way to go grab it. And I'm not sure whether or not they do that like as quickly as possible, or they just wouldn't bother, like if that is part of the gathering. And I mean, it's especially considering they don't mind gold.
No.
Right? Like that's where it comes down to. Because I am down for speed running the game as long as you do literally everything that cave has to do that as fast.
Do you consider that what speedrunning should be? It's how quickly you can. I mean, that's another form of it.
Okay.
That's another form.
Well, that's speedrunning actually doing that. Speedrunning the game. What's speedrunning mission?
Yeah, like people that speedrun the mission, literally, they're just like main objective. That's it. See ya. And it's just like
all they care about. They just care about looking at a number on the screen. Whereas when we speedrun just doing shit. So we're like, right, mine the gold as quickly as possible, mine the nitro as quickly as possible. Or like if the gold's on the ceiling and an awkward, leave it.
Do the omen as quickly as possible.
Yeah, do quickly. Like do everything you can, but think about do everything that we would normally do. But we just do it quickly because that's what the game isn't just a mission line. You don't play the game to complete the mission. You play the game to.
Well, some people do
as well.
But exactly.
Yeah, these guys do. That's the thing.
That's why I can't get on the side of the speedrunners. It's just
they're just ignoring half the game to look at time.
I don't know. It's like, what's the point in all of it if you're just gonna leave it? Right? Like, fuck. Which I guess is probably what the gold non-miners would say. They probably don't want gold in the game.
Some games counter that by then they make stuff like that necessary.
Yeah.
But then that speedrunners hate that because look at all this shit I have to do that's necessary.
Yeah,
all they do is get the time down.
Ghost Ship, like everyone kept complaining about fucking mining gold, and Ghost Ship was like, all right. So you don't think mining gold's worth your money? Sure, it's not, but now you have to mine it. Third objective, mine like fucking 400 gold. Fuck you. And yeah, there'll be riot. There'll be absolute riot.
Yeah. I tell you what.
Speedrunning though, isn't it? Like speedrunning is cutting the corners. I think that's part of what they enjoy from it.
Yeah, I mean, speedrunners always try and like glitch their way into like skip levels.
Yeah, kind of they enjoy cutting down all the crap out of a mission that you don't need to do.
I mean, Mario's lathered in that. You find a secret exit in World 1 that takes you to World 5. Huh?
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to do that. I want to play the game. I want to play the rest of the game. I don't want to skip like over more than half of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's because what we enjoy of a game isn't literally just finishing it and then looking at a number on a screen and going, that number's pretty good. I'm happy now.
I need to do it again now though, because that number can be better.
Yeah.
I'm autistic. And that's why having that impulse is arguably autistic. I think that is an inhuman level of drive, and I think autistic people are often inhuman.
I mean, the character from Drive was definitely autistic. Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
You know why he's got the jacket on, like the white bomber jacket with the scorpion on the back, and he's like in the supermarket.
I haven't seen Drive yet.
I haven't either.
Barely heard of it.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Friends at college talking about it.
So, craft beers, some of them are way more noteworthy than others, right? I mean, aforementioned Gut Wrecker, that just makes you like burp, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gut Wrecker is actually one of the least interesting ones. Absolutely, yeah. It's just a big burp.
Does that also make you fart, or does that also...
No, that's Macterra Brew.
Right. You fart at a bunch of fucking
insulting things. And, like, I bought my girlfriend fucking food, and then she gets extras.
What?
I'm buying dinner, and she gets extra shit. Like, come on, man.
What? What do you mean?
Well, she pays for it with your thing, or that the servers just give her extra?
Servers.
No, like she asks for extra stuff. Like, we got pizza, and she's asked like extra shit on it and stuffed crust.
Well, you got to get stuffed crust.
Yeah.
Do you not do the same?
Yeah, but it's my fucking money. She didn't tell me, she didn't even eat all of it. She left 2 slices.
You can eat that, can't you? Or does it not? Do you not like what she orders?
No, I can. I'm eating it. That's what I'm looking at. I've got two slices here, and I'm looking at her like, fuck. She didn't even. She asked for extra shit and didn't even eat all of it. And it was my money.
Yeah, that's women.
Women, am I right? Woman moment.
Woman moment. Woman moment.
100% guy audience.
Is it? Are they? I thought there was at least half a woman.
That's a good point.
It's like 99.8. We got like 0.2 of a female audience, and I'm pretty sure all of those women watched the Women in Deep Rock video, because a lot of commenters on that were like, "I'm a woman and I think this."
If any of them are listening,
they all come from. No woman is seeing this.
Stay away.
It's statistically not happening. But yeah, anyway, guys, women, are we right?
Anyway,
women.
It's kind of stop
drinking, it. What are some other ones? The issue is the ones that are boring enough to not need to talk about. I can't remember. Right?
What's the most feminine beer?
Art Snout. Men don't need that kind of knowledge.
It's kind of weird that Gut Wrecker is 41% potency and Macterra Brew is 40%. What is that?
Numbers.
So Macterra Brew's got a really boring mug, but it's just the fact that it's like green froth with like flies flying around it. Really, that's really the thing that's selling it.
Macterra.
It's not
drinking a bunch of fucking flies.
It is the only one that makes me like it invokes any kind of feelings of grossness at all, because it is objectively disgusting in concept. Also, makes you release a loud fart. That's what it says. Player releases a loud fart, creating a green cloud around them. Lovely. I guess that comes from goo bombers. Must do.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones where the Macterra Brew quickly rose to prominence among the crew as long as everyone agreed not to discuss the ingredients. Because, it's not something you would want to drink if you knew what was in it. That applies to pretty much everything.
Fucking tasty, right?
It can't be.
There's no reason why that would be worth drinking it, though, right? If they know that it's disgusting, but they do it anyway. It must be a very nice.
It just says a delightful tangy brew.
Yeah, like, so I think it must be really nice.
Well, apparently the gut wrecker is the tastiest one. I don't know. It just says a peculiar but exceptionally tasty brew. Yeah. I can't imagine any of the others taste amazing.
Some other ones? I mean, you got the two. You got like Burning Love.
Fire and Ice.
Yeah. What's the other one? Ark Stout, right?
Ark Stout. Yeah.
Yeah, those two just affect the shit out of you.
I guess so.
Which is all right. I mean, you know, not the best thing since sliced bread, especially since there's another one that also freezes.
Huh? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a bloody good point. I mean, honestly, I think Burning Love might be my favourite one, though, for some reason. I don't know. I just like the idea of just drinking this beer that's on fire, and then you just, like, combust. It's just, I find it very satisfying. I don't know if that I should be concerned about that. I also appreciate the fact that it's, like, clearly, like, an innuendo. Like a really weird one to put in Deep Rock as well. Like, referring to something like that. I'm not sure I understand.
What are some other basic ones? Because obviously I can think of like 4 that or 3 or 4 that we actually like.
I reckon Blacklock Lager is one I don't really think about.
That's the weird whispery one.
Yeah, it's sort of.
That is a whole bag of nothing. That is.
It really is nothing, isn't it?
I completely forgot it was in.
An ominous concoction so thick and black that you'd think it was taken from the very core of Hoxie's itself. Any rumours around psychotic episodes and hallucinations connected to this brew are purely anecdotal, or so they say.
Hypes it up.
Yeah. It should literally like transport
that, and like I'm gonna have a fucking sleep paralysis demon appear in front of me.
Something like that, or like, you know, like when they put the ring on in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, like something like that. Some kind of more dramatic effect, because it's
and just like flickers of like a black figure like
oh my god
at your peripheral.
You see some like monster outside
reaching around the corner of your screen.
Well, does it have hands? I think it does, like, have little hands.
Maybe
come out.
Either way, could be better, a lot better. So bad.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I guess there's a few other boring ones. I don't know if you consider Underhill Deluxe boring. Well, it's not, is it? I mean, it's the 2 size-changing ones.
Right, the big ones, the bigger and little ones. Yeah.
I like Underhill Deluxe, obviously, because it's a fucking Hobbit reference. So it's Ark Stout, I suppose. But yeah, good old Underhill Deluxe makes you a little man. makes you even smaller.
Yeah.
Not very nice. The player shrinks in size. What a fucking description that is. Holy shit. Underhill Deluxe, everyone. You can, like, I don't know. I like sort of running up to the little, like, bobblehead on the counter, and it's like I'm the same size as you now.
Be your brothers now.
No. That's I don't know what that thing is, because I think it is supposed to be a dwarf, right? They say, like, is that what they think we look like or something? But it's a gnome. It's a gnome,
like
man.
A really shittily made dwarf.
Yeah, it's like made of clay. It's made of plasticine. It's made of
felt.
I don't know about felt.
Big and small ones are pretty cool. But then I think we got on the rad ones now.
Well, would you consider Season Moon Rider the rad one?
That's the no grav one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a no grav with the dance one, isn't there?
Season Moon Rider is like, well, it would be if you couldn't turn off the gravity in the space rig. It would actually be pretty cool. And I get why it exists. Kind of. I mean, I don't really. I get that it exists to be a drink that does that.
Yeah.
But you can already do that. I don't know why. I don't know how Seasoned Moon Rider got in and Bronzebeard Bitter did not. I take severe umbrage with this. The course of history we've been set upon. With Seasoned Moon Rider. It's got a pretty cool design though. It's like a lunar lander looking mug. Kind of like it.
And this is the dance one.
Yeah. Blackreach Blonde, I appreciate that Skyrim reference. So
yeah, although it's a bit weird that the thing's right there, right? Like you're at the bar.
Well, I like Blackreach Blonde because it means you can sort of run around in third person around the space rig.
I guess
that's it. That's what it's for, really. Like woo, dance, and then you can just dance around people who are like I don't know, forging or something, and you're just there, just breaking it down. Like an asshole. Hitting the griddy. Yes. Yeah. I think they have a specific selection of songs for that as well. Well, no, they definitely do. It's all the more disco-like ones. Yeah. Apparently, it says the player received the jukebox effect. I don't know if that's like is that what the juke?
That's a status effect. I hope it's a status effect.
Well, I mean, it means we could get a boogie bomb. Yeah.
We'd get a boogie that make us dance.
Yeah.
Enemy that makes us. It's like a warden, but it's got a disco ball at the back.
Oh my god, that would be
close.
Weird.
The Tedger over it. Get down.
What, you actually start dancing though? Because how the hell would the Glyphids know what dancing is?
They don't, but you do. Get down tonight. Get down tonight. Down.
They probably do. They feel like vibrations in the earth, and if it hits a certain rhythm, they just start vibing. Yeah. They have an oppressor just hit the ground at a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
And they like it. Well, they only know percussion.
Completely forgotten about because there's really quite a lot.
Yeah, Smart Stout.
So I haven't forgotten about that. That was Smart Stout.
Yeah, but it's Smart Stout, isn't it?
Flintlock one, which said you floating around, and Wormhole Special.
Wormhole
are the best.
You like Smart Stout?
I don't think I like it, but I think it's definitely up there in the best beers. Right? I mean, you can't deny how cool it was drinking it and get almost law hit.
As far as we know, they do actually add more, don't they? Or they have done.
I think they have, yeah, definitely.
The player becomes temporarily intelligent. Talks like a scientist. The player becomes temporarily intelligent. That's not very nice. It's I do think Smart Stout though, it's either meant to be a cool teaser, or it is meant to annoy you. When they manage to go through on this entire tirade on some really fucking boring shit and they get through the whole thing. It's very deliberate, I think. It's because obviously when they're about to have make some massive realization, they get cut off because it just stops working. But when they're explaining something really boring and in detail, they just get through it all.
Yeah, it is a piss take.
Yeah,
I think it is fun.
It's kind of funny sometimes.
I mean, it's pretty cool in that while it didn't finish it, the 5 error cube, I don't think it's ever gonna mean anything. But that is the next step in error cube lore. In that, if you get 5 of them, they can do something.
Well,
except
when not added, 3 years at a time. Every 3 years we'll get something on the error cubes.
Hopefully,
next year then I guess should be next our next hint.
Yeah, and then I think Wormhole Special mixed with Flintlock, coolest result.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Flintlock
around space.
Flintlock Delight was the one that I remember being teased quite prominently. I remember the trailer for that update. It was a I don't know what you call it. It's just a little clip at the end after the title, and it was just the dwarves just getting shot around the space rig by Flintlock Delight. That's immediately quite good. It's actually quite annoying. It's not annoying. It's annoying if you try to do something else while it's active, but it always lasts longer than it feels like it should.
Yeah.
But obviously, then you do have Wormhole Special, which it's Wormhole Special. So I don't know what to say. It's Wormhole Special. It's easily the most exciting one. Obviously, not when you get teleported inside the drop pod. You get teleported. Imagine if your first Wormhole Special teleports you inside the drop pod, and you're like, "Am I stuck?"
And you quit the game. You never play it again.
Never play it again because you couldn't wait. I think it's less than 10 seconds. Or it's maybe 10 seconds.
beer, put me in the. I can't do anything.
I'm soft locked. I'm soft.
Even though you can actually escape, right? You'd be able to pick a mission while.
Yes, you could do that as well. Yeah, I want to do that. I haven't actually done that. I haven't actually opened it with me in it. You could like, it's like role playing coming back from the mission.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't see why it would be difficult to like have it so that you actually. I would love it though if you got back from a mission and you actually came out the drop pod instead of coming out your room.
Yeah.
I would like that.
To imply that like time.
No, yeah, but I don't do that. I don't take breaks. My dwarf doesn't. Right. My dwarf is like on the clock, 24 hours, 25 hours a day. Yeah, that's why he drinks oily oaths and nothing else. They should make the drink made of that's just the vat fluid.
Grease.
No, it's like what's in the like the vats holding the rockpox samples.
Oh right. Think of a beer title with rockpox, or like alludes to it very least, like rockpox.
Beer, rockpox beer, rock shots. That sounds horrible. You got the rock shots. Shot pox. Pox shots. I don't know. Pox shots. They should add some. They should add some kind of shots. I think. And like they pulls them out. I don't know. Maybe before like more than normal, you'd have like lots of little ones in the same place or something. I don't know. And you would just take as many shots as you can. It'd be like pox shots, and it gets you infected. I'm surprised they don't have a drink that infects you like that.
They can. That's what this drink would.
It's a chum bucket. Yeah. That's kind of what it's like, isn't it? I never understood that. I never understood how the fuck Plankton thought he was going to get any business. Just selling fucking organs.
Well, the thing is, the chum bucket. Chum is what fish eat, right? Or is that made out of fish?
It doesn't look like it's made of fish.
I think you make chum and then you use that to fish. You throw chum into the water, and then it like the fish will come to try and eat it and fish out of that.
I mean, right? That's Terraria. Yeah, that's what you're going off of. Yeah, which is fair. Yeah. It's fair. Terraria is very reflective of the real world.
Yeah, but the point is, I think the point is that Plankton's chum bucket. That is what fish eat, right? They eat chum out of a bucket. That's what they get. You throw chum into the water out of a bucket. Yet none of the fish want that. They want burgers.
No, Dread Nautilus though, he'll show up.
Dread Nautilus will show up. Or with the eel thing. The hemogoblin.
The hemogoblin shark. The hemogoblin. Not hemoglobin.
Globlin.
Globlin. I'm a globlin. So yeah, obviously combine Flintlock Delight with Wormhole Special, and you get annoyed when you end up in the drop pod again. You
always get annoyed, but that time it feels especially weird.
Yes, but it's like, and then you shoot off into the sunset. What I want to do though is actually get probably get Flintlock Delight and get out of the space reek with it. So you take it with you as you when you clip out the space rig, you can just walk around. So you're not like on the timer, the Wormhole Special timer, but you've got a Flintlock Delight with you.
Yeah, the Flintlock could work. I think maybe the low gravity one.
Yeah, you should probably use that.
That would enable you to double up on the low grav.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, Season Moonrider and Flintlock Delight is something. All Season Moonrider and Wormhole Special. But what I do something which is really dumb is Ark and Stout, then Wormhole Special. Which doesn't make any sense. Or the other way around, I think, because then you just freeze and then you freeze again. But I do like, and I don't know how I feel about this, where you have taken Ark and Stout and then a burning love, and then you're frozen, but then you get set on fire. But you're just like you're just a frozen statue on fire. But also, in regards to something like that, though, Ark and Stout specifically, that's one where the effect shouldn't be temporary. I don't think. You should just have to shake out to get out, like you normally do. You could just be permanently frozen if you wanted to. You could become a statue. You could like pose. You could pose with like the dances, and you could stay that way if you wanted to, forever.
I see no reason why you couldn't always be that in the right, but you just always whatever you've done it with. With I think probably some exceptions, like the size ones might get a bit much. Probably couldn't get in the pod. Big. And obviously, Flintlock could be a fucking right pain in the ass.
To do what? This is just to get... What?
Just like if it was just permanent, you drink the drink, and from then on until you go into the mission, you have that.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be annoying.
Yeah.
That's like the giant. It's like we take Season Moonrider. Wait, hold on, Malt Rock Bearer. And you can literally like disengage like the thing that holds the drop board in place, and it falls out of the space rig.
Yeah.
And you like ride it. You have to ride it. You just like
That's how the game ends.
What's how the game ends?
Riding the fucking you said pod. I was thinking rig.
Riding the rig.
Yeah, a giant fucking dwarf just down like 10 giga size drinks, and he's riding the fucking rig into Hoxie's and blows it up.
I mean, I guess the rig can't move because it's always been called the rig, but it did used to look more like an actual ship. But I think it can move.
Just orbit, right?
Yeah, but like it's so big, I can't imagine something like that, like something picks it up. I mean, where would you even move it to? Are they built in orbit? I don't know, man. But it keeps me up at night. It fucks with my head.
Speaking of fucks with your head, I think
holiday beer.
Holiday beers again.
Honourable mention, because there's only one.
The Glizzy beer.
Best worst beer. Or is it called best worst brew? Best worst beer available during Oktoberfest. Yeah. Why do you have to be player rank 3 to buy it? That is so pointless. Is that just so you can't buy it before? What do you mean? What?
The sausage one. You had to buy it.
It wasn't free. You never had to pay for the beer license though.
Right.
Well, you didn't talk about that, but that's a bit of a. I mean, come on, man.
They just lock so many features. I don't quite get why, but I guess it makes things to look forward to, but it also makes you feel like everything's against you when you're playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, a daily special is like one beer license to buy. You buy the daily special beer license, and that just unlocks them all. But yeah, best worst. It was the first time they did a temporary beer, and the first time they made a beer for something in particular, something specific. Yeah. So it's kind of funny to think about, isn't it? It's like when we heard that we were going to get a new beer in season 4, it's like, oh, it's been so long. Well, I mean, if you count best worst, I guess not. And I get that being a piece of content they're okay with being temporary. You know, it's not that you can keep them around. You know, obviously the assignments are temporary, right? But if you finish the assignment, you get the cosmetics, you keep them. But the drink is available the whole time, but after the event's over, it goes away. But it is also just I don't know, it's just beer, but it does have a sausage in it.
It is like eating.
It is eating.
Eating is not often shown. Often implied, not often shown.
Yeah, actually eat because there's a glizzy, there's a sausage in the dog. No. There's a sausage in the beer, and then they swirl it around and then eat it. I remember when you first saw that, you're like, it's going to turn you into a giant sausage.
Well, I thought that after you've drunk it, it would do something, but that's not the case. The other way around. The animation of drinking it is what's special about it.
Woo!
Which is interesting, because that could be used some other points, such as
Easter,
what we'll talk about later. The actual fact that we will be getting a beer this season, so speculate on that. But I think it's time, Harry, that we talk about
Dark Morkite.
Yeah, Dark Morkite and his entirely a million times better friend.
Yeah.
Daily specials.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like I guess it's like the cast of Lord of the Rings, and Dark Morkite is Frodo, which is a bit of a shame because he's the main character.
What's wrong with Elijah Wood?
Not much, but he's definitely the worst of like the 9 of the Fellowship. Like he is. I feel like most people agree with that. Luckily, Sam's there, and Gollum. Which one's Gollum? Gollum is the beer that you the mug that you use in like the victory moves. Because that's like the old Oily Oath mug, I think. The dual drink drop or those ones. You drink to drink, which are weird because one of them has the beer and the other one doesn't. You know, like one of them's just an empty mug that you just hold up to your face. If you actually know what's going on in that animation, there's no actual beer in there. But the other one, you just pour it on you and it just goes down your front. Yeah.
Real men drink from their chest.
Anyway, daily specials, aka Perca Colas.
Yeah, aka a feature that they added and then never looked back at.
I mean, I wouldn't call it.
A second of thought.
I wouldn't give it. I wouldn't say it's in a dire situation.
What do you mean? They bugged. They've been bugged from day one. They are broken entirely. The fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
Just because people like the bug doesn't mean it should stay there. Which is actually interesting because obviously, as mentioned, with the whole, removal of the core hunt bug, right? They were like, this is not how we intend it, so we removed it, right? That was their stance. And they obviously added their solution, which I still haven't actually promoted since then. But yeah, they did that. So either that means that they really haven't given any thought to special beers, or that is actually how they intend.
I don't see how the numbers being double can be an accident. I just don't. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Which means
most of them feel reasonable, right? Like you don't feel like you have too much. Apparently,
no. It's very
feel like Tunnel Rat doesn't eliminate all fall damage, right? It doesn't break that completely.
No.
The other ones they don't break other things too much. I think they kind of do, right? Like mining speed strength.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain. That's probably where you'd notice it first.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
It's supposed to remove one, right? But it makes everything one.
Well, not everything. So this is a bit of a problem I have with Rocky Mountain, because it's all like main terrain, aka common dirt, common rock, or whatever it could be. Some of them aren't that. Sand. What do you say? Sand.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
What is right? Yeah.
But it's like there's bits of terrain. There's like formations that are still free here, and it doesn't affect those. And in my opinion, the usefulness of like that should be universal, but at the same time, that only technically applies to the sandblasted corridors, because it is useless there. It just wouldn't be if you could mine like the really hard rock quicker, but you can't.
Since that hard rock thing gets in your.
Yes, I mean I think it's designed to be an obstacle, and that's why it should work on it. That's why, because it's supposed to help you. That's what the daily specials are for. But it would help my case though as well. The case against Dark Morkite. That case being they're all useful. They're all at least somewhat useful in every mission. Except Dark Morkite. You know? And unfortunately, Rocky Mountain can't be because of the sandblasted corridors. But that's only because there's some types of terrain that it doesn't work on. But it's sort of an exception, but it's still like 90% of the way there. So I'm not too hot and bothered about that. But I am bothered about Dark Morkite. The problem with that is it's not like they're taking a look at drinks,
Yeah.
Right?
They didn't imply like the perks that they were going to set that, look at it and adjust it on the grander scheme. They really just said we're adding a new beer. That's it. There's just there we are. It's a bit like I'm not sure that's going to be enough. I'm not sure what this new beer is going to be. If it's a craft beer, that doesn't matter. It's also not really going to be something worth adding, I imagine, unless it is a Rockbox beer, right? It'd be like, oh, why wouldn't we just do it? Because otherwise, it feels like it's effort that's really going to benefit anyone. But yeah, or if it's a daily special, then I'll be fine. No, like if they just add another daily special, actually.
Dark Dicebrum.
Oh god.
What the shit? But yeah, I still do. Whatever. I don't even know if they would want to remove it though, even if they took a look at it and they're like, Dark Morkite. It's useless most of the time, and even then, mine expeditions are almost always possible. But I don't know why they would just up and remove it. And I don't know if that is what we want. I don't know. I guess I want it gone because its existence is not useful to me in any way. It's just like I see it and I think, wow, you're just wasting space, aren't you? Do something else. Have something else there. Any of the others. Any of them. Yeah, literally.
Well, I guess it saves some barley bobs. Spend them otherwise, wouldn't you?
No, I don't buy it. I don't always buy the date special. I'm not a madman. I mean, Backbreaker Stout is like a bit weird as well. That one's it's also because the effect is much more minimal than the others. It's also like a not particularly. It is one of the less useful ones overall as well. It still can technically be useful in every mission. I think actually this is another one where it does have an exception, which is like, but basically, if there's a biome that doesn't have either Enor Pearls or Jadis, there's a chance that Backbreaker Stout won't be useful on your mission at all. But there's a lot of heavy objects in the game. Now, chances are pretty high, to be fair.
And obviously Driller, right?
What about
him? Need it?
What?
Backbreaker Stout's the terrain one, right? Or is that the power attack? Oh, heavy stuff. That's that one, right?
Yeah.
If anything, yeah, it's better for Driller.
Yes. If you consider that his role.
The one gathering it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and it is. And it definitely is. Not that everything is. That's really just stuff in walls, though. And at this point, I'd say there's probably more heavy objects that can be, or definitely more that aren't necessarily in walls. Especially if you say have gunk seeds as a secondary objective.
Yeah.
And then obviously eggs can be dug out easier than other things in walls. But either way, Backbreaker Stout. It's also, I do think it is one of the less overall useful ones. And it's also, the effect is much smaller than it should be. Well, it says times 1.15 parry movement speed, aka plus 15%, which means it's actually plus 32.25%. Yeah, apparently. But that's not a huge increase. Neither is Dark Morkite as well. That's the other thing about Dark Morkite. It's actually pretty small. I would somewhat appreciate Dark Morkite if it meant you could instantly finish those missions. If it just cranked it up to I don't know, times 5 Morkite mind. You could just finish in the second room or something. Just something stupid.
Pots of gold. It's just you mine a single bit of Morkite in your
Pots of gold being the other one where you might notice something's a bit off. Because they're doing it says it will double gold mined. If you've ever used pots of gold, you've probably had the thought cross your mind, this feels like more than double.
It's triple, right?
No.
Then what is it?
Remember, they're all roughly just double what they say they are.
So 4 times.
Yes.
Fuck, man.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the thing. Like, they're just fine with that, right? They know about that.
Exactly. That's what I mean, though. They obviously know about it. And you have things like, the minigun, the zoo calls, where they have intentionally misleading numbers. Yes. So it's like, I don't think it's... Although, wasn't there something where this was confirmed to be a bug? Right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be calling it a bug otherwise. Because I feel like I remember them being like, oh yeah, all the drinks are bugged.
Well,
we know that.
They say that they're 2 times and then you get 4, right? What they say it does is wrong.
Yes.
Either what they say is wrong and that needs to be fixed, or the actual in-game stuff is bugged. That needs to be. Either way, something is wrong there.
Well, they. I mean, I like it specifically with pots of gold, though, where it feels like way more than double. I like that, and then it would seem like a ridiculous amount because it is if it said times 4. But it's like it's not. Well, obviously it is when you're actually doing it, but it doesn't say it is. So it's like, oh wow, this is incredible. Which is why gold skippers are silly. I think did someone try and say something like pots of gold is also a waste of time? I don't know if anyone said that specifically. You know, Axis Cronus might have done. What?
Don't say it. Speak of him.
I will.
Well, see, the gold thing is not worth it. I think it was a start, I would argue. Not the current.
Yeah,
I don't know. The daily stuff is really weird. How bugged it is. They added it and never touched it since. It's definitely due. And addressing is due. Either changing the text, changing the in-game effects, getting rid of Dark Morkite, or working Dark. There is some serious attention that needs to be given to special bits. And they are important enough to the game to, right? Like, the effects they can have on a mission is definitely prominent, depending on them, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely can't disagree. And I don't know, I feel kind of stupid trying to introduce a but to that. I guess it really all it is that I don't think the game is being hurt, but in terms of things that should come next, that's just how the game goes. We just cycle through things to be addressed each update, and I think it's a perfectly viable feature to take that role for an update. Frankly, I don't know if that's crazy to some people, but you know, we're never going to move things forward if we just try and add to the same things every season. I mean, if you think about it, it feels like it's been so fucking long since season started, and in a way it has, but a majority of them added to the same thing in that department, technically. If you look at season 1 and 2, they both added weapons, and that's kind of scary. And there was, actually, we never talked about this because it wasn't ours. Someone did manage to interview Mikkel like a month ago or so.
Right.
Not like an audio version. It was like someone who writes for a website, you know, kind of person. Be like, we're writing it for this like journalist, this like games news website, whatever. And there was something about there was just a question about season 4, and the topic of the like, equipment came up, and he was kind of like, oh, we're still not actually sure at the moment, or we're working on that or whatever. And it's just like, well, I think special beers is a good idea for that. I mean, personally, my desires do lie elsewhere. But if we can't get that, then it's going to, I think, taking a look at special beers is a very valid thing to do. And I just don't see how it couldn't be, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it falls under what I imagine we're going to be getting. Obviously, half of it is going to be new shit, Dropbox rivals, shit like that. Then the other half, we've been getting equipment, and now we're going to be getting new enemies. Looks like we should be expecting probably a perk rework to fall under that plot. I imagine at some point we will expect a special beers generally, but many more special.
Well, that's what I mean, and I suppose this sort of is somewhat hypocritical, or at least it would be if you were saying it, right? But I think, given that their main focus is what it is for season 4, that's why I think for the equipment part of things, something like Special Biz makes more sense because it is smaller. It's smaller than something like weapons, certainly. It's smaller than weapons and perks.
Everything is.
What?
Everything's smaller than weapons.
Everything's smaller than weapons, yes. It's smaller than perks too, for sure. Yeah. And that's why it's a kind of one where I wouldn't say I guess it would be sidelined, but it would still be a focus. It would be a sidelined focus, though. You know, it would be a main feature of it as an update. But it wouldn't be pushed as like massively. This is what I was thinking as well. Given that the main focus this time isn't whether the new equipment is going to be, it means something like Overclocked makes perfect sense, especially if their concern with Overclocked is that it's the type of content that's not immediately available to everyone. It's the kind of thing that there's not going to be a right time for it if that's how you want it to be. So you might as well just slip it in when it's not, when your main focus is something else for the season. That makes perfect sense to me. Could be either one, could be a bit of both. I mean, actually, it's more likely to be Overclocks, I guess, if we're stopping at the one beer for season 4. But at the same time, you could stop at one beer but still address the beers. You could stop at one beer being added but still, look at them. I don't think it would be that hard either, though. That's the thing. I mean, I in terms of like the mechanical implications or effects that they have on the game, it's like Dark Morkite is really the only one that needs to be changed, and it's probably just be changed to, because I think you could still keep the name and just change it to something that affects minerals more generally. Means it probably have to be a smaller percentage as well, though, and also change the text. Change the text, not the stat changes. Or something about pots of gold sort of throws me off, where it's like I feel like they almost think it would be weird if it said 4 times. And I kind of agree if that's a thing. But then pots of gold could be nerfed to 3 times, I think. Wouldn't matter too much. What's this new one?
Nerf is ever really going to be allowed.
Why? Why would you do that?
Thank you, Thomas.
I like more money. Why? It doesn't fucking matter.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I think making people earn less
making it worse for no reason.
The same way, new players will have a worse experience, earn less. Like, I don't
think it's broken anyway, is it? You can then spend it all immediately anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's not like it comes around very often either.
It can have its moment. I think it should be allowed to. Right? I think when you get a pots of gold rush,
particularly when it's a PvE game,
you deserve.
It doesn't matter if you make a shit ton of money.
You deserve the
cosmetics and shit.
Rain. Yeah, and I don't know. I think 3. It almost almost isn't enough, right? If you're gonna nerf it, bring it down to 2. Right?
Well, no, because I don't want it to be nerfed, but I was thinking if we wanted them to change the text to be actually accurate to the stats, I have this weird thing, and it might. The thing is, I can't remember, but it might be based on something that I saw said, but I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna say that it definitely was. About how 4 times seems like too much to have like written down, and for people to see is like 4 times. Like that's not. Nothing gives you 4 times anything in any game. That's a weird thing to see. But then 3 times would still be more than it used to be.
Gives you 4 times Commander XP.
3 times would still be more than it says it is now. and one that says it is, but it would be more recent. I don't know. That's just a weird thing. Well, it's not like I believe it either. It's not like
put a number down, right? You could easily just
say... actually, that's the best way to do it. Actually, for all of them, really.
Multiple times more.
That is actually the best way to do it for all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Because then you don't even think about it. Although, as far as I know, like Backbreaker Stout doesn't say the number, and that's because it's a very small number. Which is kind of ironic.
Very meaningless.
Yes. I think Backbreaker Stout should actually be changed to just where you can sprint while holding things. Basically. That'll do it. That'll do it for me.
I think Unstoppable should be that.
Yeah, I think they can sort of add on to perks sometimes. I mean, none of them are really that, actually. I guess the only one but that's kind of a thing. Well, Backbreaker Stout, first of all, and then Skull Crusher Ale. Because Skull Crusher Ale increases pickaxe damage, and that's obviously a passive of Seaman Hell. So it's got that going for it. And also, Skull Crusher Ale, just reading it, because that's the one I always forget about. I know there's two that are like for your pickaxe. It's like, oh, Slayer Stout. Yeah, Slayer Stout. That's the pickaxe cooldown one. And I like, every time I fucking break my brain trying to remember the other one.
What does Skull Crusher even do?
I just said it increases your pickaxe damage outright.
But like,
Slayer's the good one.
Just normally hitting.
They're both good. Both good. I guess Skull Crusher Ale doesn't seem as useful because it's not like
you can rely more on your pickaxe recharge because it's like what, like 5 seconds or some bullshit like that.
I think it goes down to like 20 or 10.
No, that's like not 10. 20 is like you can get it down to 20. You can get it, which means it's times 0.25, which means divided by 4. So it would come down to 5 if you had the upgrade to make it 20. It's 5 seconds.
Actually, Berserker at that point.
Yeah. Slayer Stout is really good.
Berserker's 1, but yeah, Slayer Stout's really, really fun.
Yeah, but also it's like all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Slayer Stout is kind of wild.
Berserker then divides down even further, so they get down to like stupid numbers. Is there like probably? I think there's a cap.
Does Berserker divide though, or does it just make it?
I don't think Berserker interacts with this because with the mod it does. It like gets better and get recharged. But I don't think there's ever been a stat shown with it interacting with the.
Yeah, it's because Berserker is a different mode almost, where it's like it's reducing your pickaxe, it's reducing the power attack cooldown, but it's like it's a different mode, whereas it will ignore other changes. And just for a while, it's like it's as if your power attack as normal is being reduced down to like 1 second. It's just ignoring
it also includes the mod.
Yeah, I that's a bit weird actually. I mean, the beers seem to have some like elaboration on that. I mean, only because for Tunnel Rat it says -60% full damage brackets additive. But I suppose that stat can't be, divided. There's no different scenarios for full damage, right? Unless you had unless you had a perk where it's like you have to you press it to avoid full damage, like at a split second or something. In that case, it wouldn't be additive with that or something like that. But no. But then why isn't Red Rock Blast now additive? Because it just adds on to your health. Although I guess it doesn't. It doesn't because it's times 1.69, which is quite a lot and kind of funny. That's 69%. Shut up.
Oh.
Gold should be times 4.2 then. What's a gold? 4.20 specifically.
Yeah, especially weird, dumbly weird.
But cool because we like them. As in cool because they're cool, which means we like them, which means one thing done with them because is old, outdated in some parts, objectively. And honestly, when it comes to things that are like arguably hurting, right, in the game, it's like I'd argue what.
Dark Morkite is certainly out there.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, are perks in trouble, or are they just, or are people just starting to see flaws in that system?
They're a bit tired as well.
Yeah. I mean, special beers obviously keeps itself fresh.
With special beer.
But I think there is something wrong with them. I think that's the thing. So they're definitely worth looking at. And then perks is like, and then it was just, we'll just cycle through different things, I guess, over time. I don't know if that means they'll like somehow outdo perks in the sense of like, oh no, perks are like way more interesting than everything else in the game now, which means we go back to square one, and then like Gen 4 of the weapons is even more interesting. It's this fucking exponential cycle. But I don't think it'll be like that. The problem is it's hard to gauge if there's any kind of cycle because of how long things take.
That's not even seasons, really. Is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Those seasons won't.
No.
Yeah.
Unused beers.
Fuck.
What? There's not much really, because like the only one that we know what it did was Bronzebeard Bitter, and it just gave you, as far as I know, it could have been a placeholder effect anyway, because there was like an old like unused perk as well that just gave you explosive kicks, which was just for barrels in the space rig, which is kind of weird when you think about it. That the perk, affected the space rig, and that was the exact effect that Bronzebeard Bitter gave. So it almost feels like a bit of a placeholder. But that's like the only one where we knew the effect that it gave. I mean, in the thumbnail for this, I included like at front and center is actually an unused one called Tooth Grinder. There's quite a few of these, but it's like, what are we gonna do? Like speculate on them? I wouldn't say they're coming back. I mean, I would bring them back if I was in charge, because the labels are made. That's why the labels and the names. You've got Tooth Grinder, Miner's Lament, Canary Dew, Bronzebeard Bitter, and Asrock Ale, which used to be called Asgaraz Ale, but now so it actually had a name change, but it never made it into the game. And then apparently Slayer Stout used to be called Gotrek Special. What the fuck? And apparently it's an old label for Tunnel Rat, but it doesn't look any different. So, good job on that. Pick one.
Yeah. Which I guess it does kind of lead on to speculating. What's the new beer? Why'd they announce it so cavalierly, so early?
Cavalier? I don't know if that's a word.
Neither do I. But you know what I mean. Like it's sorry. There is something word close to that which is used here. But yeah, they were just like.
Oh, you got it. It's just cavalierly. Cavalierly, in a way that shows a lack of care about something important or about the feelings of other people.
Yeah, I used that dead on. Because yeah, they were just like, yeah, new beer.
That just means they just had an idea.
Yeah, cool.
I guess.
It was literally. I think it was just like the question was asked, right, and they were like, for a second. The other one was like Thorin, right? He was like,
"Oh fuck!"
Should we...
just bang my knee on the deck leg.
They were like, should we say this? Like, should we tell them? And like, before he could even get to look across or start talking, and Mika was like, "Yeah, we got a beer coming. Yeah, it's occurring. Yeah, it is what it is."
But that does mean it's not. That means it's not a big deal. That's the thing, and it could just means they just had an idea that they all thought was good enough. And it's like, okay, we're just gonna make a beer then. Cool. Let's just have to do things.
And it's just a question of what idea do you think they could have had this at this point?
I don't know, but I imagine it would be like nice.
Yeah,
like it's probably going to even be a really cool craft beer, or possibly
a couple ideas. Right, first of all, the Rockbox one. Right, they do like to status affect you, and I think a drink that is essentially just Rockbox, like an infected.
Spread it to your teammates as well. I mean, that doesn't make much sense. But...
No, it would just be like the freeze fire thing, but you drink it and then you get Rockbox. It makes sense, especially since you can get Rockbox in the hub, completely available. So very possible, quite likely. Then you got Bronzebeard Bitter, I guess, right? One that's got the most work put into it. That's a potential one. There was another one that I think you mentioned slightly. That's pretty likely.
Did I?
Gone.
For what? Craft beer?
Yeah.
Oh,
just a
I
new
don't
beer.
know.
No, I know mine. It is if they don't intend to bring back the Oktoberfest event, which they would have decided about recently, they would want to add that beer into the natural game. So, and that's what I was thinking. Is if they do want to keep Oktoberfest to be a very on and off special occasions like event, I think they probably wouldn't want to waste the Oktoberfest beer. So just adding it to the craft beers could have been, or just holiday beers, but it's there permanent.
Well, yeah, because it did have its own section, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that could have been a thing if because that would have been a decision of recent, right? They would have decided we're not going to bring back Oktoberfest. We're going to keep that special, right? Which would be pretty cool.
Well, we'll see. I mean, surely I've just been getting the impression they want as many events as they can get, though.
Yeah,
and I guess we'll have to wait to see this year. It's just like to see if any don't show up this year.
Yeah, but I think if any is to show up this year, I think it's going to be Oktoberfest.
Christmas.
Because Oktoberfest, I think it holds the most, value in its placements, right? It's like, hey, Oktoberfest is back. This means stuff, right? And unless they have stuff to deliver, they wouldn't bring it back. Or they want to ship that away, that value. Just have it be a normal event. Which either way is fine. I'm just thinking if they didn't want to do Oktoberfest, which they would have decided recently, they would probably add the worst beer into the main pool, which would have basically been a reason as to why they're adding a beer now, I would think, right? It's like, okay, worst beer is not being in the season anymore. Let's just add it to the game. And that would be why it's so cavalier.
Are you going to use that word a lot now?
Probably.
See if you remember.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so those are my three ideas, three main likely ones. But obviously, maybe if they came up with something completely new that they really fucking loved, then that is also quite likely. So I don't think we can really predict that inherently, unless you have some ideas.
Glow in the dark sake. Glow in the... I don't know.
Glow in the sake.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't really have any ideas off the top of my head, though. That's the thing. I don't really...
Yeah.
I would like to just think of more special day specials, but that doesn't seem too justified. Almost.
I don't expect a special, but we can do that in that we probably should because we've been planning on doing it for. I think daily specials could get very, very interesting because they fuck around, and they often don't seem to find out. Like, they get away with it. Like they are like they really fuck around with the foundation of the game, reducing fall damage, giving you more gold, and the main thing, as bad as it is, Dark Morkite fucking around with the duration of the mission is something that is very interesting, and that I would be very.
Yeah, fucking around the duration of the mission, only if you're a clump who doesn't, clear up the cave. It doesn't. Because it's still going to take at the same time. You're playing the game properly.
But I think
nerds,
having the special beers maybe give a bit of leniency in some things you wouldn't want to do, like a secondary objective reduction beer, where you lose like 25% of secondary objectives. Like you need 10 gunk seeds, now you need like 8 or 7.
Well, see, that would be boring though, and I wouldn't want them to add more boring ones.
What do you mean boring? That's what special beers are. They're just stat changes. They just change percentages. Stuff like that. That's good. Fine.
They will never change the numbers of the things you have to collect. As from what we've seen. Certainly no precedent for that. I suppose it would be weird when it comes to something like collectibles. It's like oh, you have a chance to pick up an extra one or something. So, where'd it come from though?
Exactly. So they couldn't like not like the Hawkeye. That's to change the amount you need to reduce it.
Yeah, but see, I have a problem with that. Same as I have a problem with Dark Morkite. I don't. Yeah, that's more. Just changing the mission stuff is more boring than the other ones, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm definitely not in favour of that.
I don't see how this would be any more or less boring than. Or you say what's already here is already very boring.
I don't think so much. I don't think there's. I could actually. I could agree they're probably at the same level, but I think they exist in different categories. As in, I don't think missions should be shortened by beers in general. That's something about Dark Morkite I disagree with. So I wouldn't encourage that for more beers. Oh, so that's what it would be. Don't necessarily need that. None of them speed missions up. Although, at the same time, I say that despite one of the better ideas, I think, being one that just speeds up construction time for everything. Which is something that hasn't been touched either with a beer or a perk. And I feel like it's probably going to happen in one of those forms, I reckon. Almost particularly because there's no unused either beer or perk that did that. Which I actually think means it's more likely, as in something that's been cut is being cut. So, and the fact we haven't, I feel like that could be on the way in either the form of a beer or a perk. We've got Builder's Choice. I think I remember talking about this. It's just called Builder's Choice because that's what it would be. And I think that is very reasonable, actually. And I sort of agree with you that they are all fairly boring now, except Slayer Stout.
I wasn't fighting that they were boring. You were the fight. I was just saying they're all about equal. You think they're more boring than they all kind of are. I think they're just stat changes. That's kind of nice. And it really comes down to what stat they change. And I think they should try and break down some wolves, maybe.
Yeah, but exactly. And something like construction speed would change a lot in terms of some missions and a lot of events as well. It would speed up a lot of things, sort of change the flow of a lot of things, especially when it comes to events where you have to repair something or missions you have to repair something. Suddenly they become easier. And that would be lovely. I mean, I guess you could also just have, like, nothing's also played with light yet, as in light levels, I suppose. I think there was a cut. There was a cut warning, actually, that turned off your flashlight, to be fair. Which is kind of horrifying. And also one that made your flares use up shield whenever you threw them. That was a cut mod. Yeah. But to me, in terms of light levels, we've got nothing that makes our flares or flashlight stronger. I think that would be a perfectly reasonable special beer or perk. As that's to me, a lot of these ideas could apply to both perks or special beers too.
I'm not about special beers, but I think a perk that like buffs you or nerfs you a certain way. Maybe not buffs, but like if you're in light, you gain like more damage. But if you're in darkness, you gain more defense. Something like that.
Oh,
pretty cool.
Oh, like those could be two. They could be separate if you wanted. Light dweller or dark dweller. I don't know.
And I'm not sure that would really work. Something that could, I guess. Like every light you produce is lighter, right? That could be something. Light Morkite.
Wow. I feel like there's a good. Oh yeah, Bud Light.
Yeah.
There you go. Genius. I mean, the problem is, it's like you could just run through every stat, but that's not particularly interesting, is it? But I can run faster.
And not to mention, I mean, the more you add, the less likely you're ever going to get of it. That's kind of the number price you pay. They add another 5 special beers. The chances of you getting a pots of gold goes down through the already not common to immensely unlikely.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure people would want that to occur no matter what they get given.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's a very finicky thing to like try and figure out.
Yeah, and then if you were to like consider the possibility of like an overhaul that added some kind of new system, it's like for some kind of system where you could like buy them at any time. It's just like you can't balance that almost because of pots of gold, and because pots of gold exists, it means however you would get the special beers like outside of the daily special offer can't be like credits or something because of pots of gold. That being the point of it, right? And it would be some kind of weird thing. And it's like, okay, so then what do? You make these. What do you make? Like some kind of special beer token that's like really hard to find, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's like another rare thing, and you can rarely ever actually get the special beer that you want because the tokens are really rare. So it's like it'd be a very difficult thing to do. Well, even though I really like the idea, especially it would especially work. The easiest way to do that would be to make a weak versions that you could buy at any time. That's where I would go with it.
Maybe, but I'm thinking maybe instead of just having a daily special, you have the daily specials, and it's like 3 of them. So it's like you got 3 chances.
That would only make sense if there was quite a few more, like like maybe half a dozen more, something. Well, maybe a bit less, maybe like 4 or 5 more.
Maybe 2 slots, and I think something like that. Because then, as long as it's technically your chances have not gone down, right? That people would appreciate that. Plus, they'd appreciate having a choice there, right? That would be pretty.
No, they do things. It'd probably be like 2.
You'll likely get something other.
Yeah, exactly. See, to pick, right? To pick, this is the thing. You won't be able to have more than one at once. No. That's not the.
No.
Well,
no, it would like overlap. It would be like you'd see like when it's like the water bang and it appears on your like character.
Bang.
Yeah, you'd like watch as it like fades away as you drink the other one, and then you get the new one. Right? It's like very visually, you just lost the effects of that one, and it like states at the top or wherever it would for convenience. Drinks do not stack. Or like only one daily special can be an effect at the same.
Or I mean, you could even make it a little bit more intricate. You could like have a daily special and like a house special or something, and the house special is actually on a 24-hour counter, so they're like separate timers.
Maybe, yeah. So the very, very unlikely pots of gold, it could
be it could be all day.
Sometimes there would be one all day, and those days the Reddit would be like immediately like, guys, it's the day, and then like people would grind the shit out of it.
Like happy hour, so it's like double XP like hour. I mean, which is something that a lot of games have actually. No, did a lot of games have it? I don't know. Titanfall 2 had it, where if you made like a network, well, I don't know why they call them networks, just a clan, and you could set a happy hour, which is just an hour each day where you get double XP.
Sea of Thieves has like an hour where you get like a bunch of gold.
I mean, would you like see like an XP or performance point beer reasonable? Because it's like that is obviously like gold is different from those two things.
XP is kind of not unreasonable, since you have double XP and you have gold rush, so you could have pots of gold and then the XP version of that. But that feels a bit less.
And it would still affect performance points. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But that's what I meant about something that like decreases quotas, because that feels like a change of like it's like affecting a system. It doesn't give you a tangible. Even though it's not all like really visible, or any of it's really visible. But there's still something kinetic about a lot of them. It's like fall damage and like getting hit and taking this damage, or how much gold you mine. That you do feel those things. You won't feel there being less to collect.
Everything that's happening to the dwarf, not inherently to the mission.
Yeah, that's what I think we had this discussion before, and I did land on that. To forget every time, and you forgot as well because you probably wouldn't have opened your mouth again. Remembered?
Shut your mouth,
schmuck.
Wallet.
Oh, and the beans. Oh, and the beans. Oh, when the beans come out the tin, you put the bread into the toaster, and then you put them in your mouth.
Thank you, Harry.
Don't do a Scottish accent.
I
see. Count Dankula had another child. Oh, it was obviously his wife's been pregnant for a while, obviously, but it's given birth. It's called Morag. Apparently, normal name in Scotland. So like,
wow,
Count Dankula. You know what? You know they are fucking the prime.
Average.
Yeah. Loch Ness brew.
It's just there should be one where it gives them all an accent.
Oh my god! What the fuck?
Like it's like a T. It just makes them all speak British, but like probably more posh, I would imagine. Like I look forward to going into the caves today.
Oh my god, a posh one would be great. I mean, a posh
yeah.
character of any kind would be interesting. I love that. I want more characters, kind of. I do. I'd voice a character in Deep Rock Galactic.
You'd do anything in Deep Rock Galactic. That's not saying anything.
That's not true. I wouldn't.
You would like any involvement.
That's not true.
What wouldn't you want to do?
All right, you got me.
Exactly. Fucking mate.
Chess.
You would suck a dick for that game.
No.
No.
What do you mean? What do you mean? So some kind of hypothetical where I have to suck a dick to keep
to your head, and the other gun is pointing at like the main Deep Rock servers, and if they get destroyed, the game is gone. Atom, dust. Would you?
Yes.
And no one will know about it.
They could, even if they knew, it'd be worth it.
Wow. See that? You see that? Everyone listening, Harry would suck a dick for this game. I wouldn't, by the way. That shit's going up in atoms.
Would you not, though?
No.
Really? You're that protective of your sexuality, even though I'm not even sure what it is, that you wouldn't suck a dick to keep Deep Rock, like, it would literally be gone if you didn't do it.
The issue is, Harry, is that I don't play the game enough. It wouldn't change much. Other than, obviously, our entire YouTube. You know.
Yeah.
What I often forget is, Harry, is that I don't particularly like the game. Like, it's not my kind of game. like, it's not really the type of game I would want to spend the time that I do. It's just that the developers are too fucking good for me to not want to praise it. And obviously, it is a good game. It's just not exactly my type.
And dwarfs.
Yeah, which is why I can't bring myself to play Extortionate. Why I get sick when there's no content.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the kind of game where it's just playing it is fun for me. It's just not that. At least it needs a bit more than that. So yeah, I wouldn't suck a dick for it. I'd have to phone a friend. But Harry, there's a guy with a gun here, and he wants me to suck a dick for Deep Rock. Do you want to take this bullet for me? And all the dick?
Yeah, it's not the bullet.
Yeah.
What?
I'd probably get shot in the head, damn it. But they'd be pretty incompetent if I had my phone on me.
Yes.
I don't even normally have my phone on me outside, so they'd have to do some. Point is, I wouldn't. Comment down below if you'd suck a dick for Deep Rock Galactic.
Put a poll up.
Comment that exact thing. I would suck a dick for Deep Rock Galactic.
Why do you want people to say that?
If you are listening to this right now, I need you to do this because I do this often and no one ever comments this. If you are listening right now, are listening, comment, I would suck a dick for Deep Rock Galactic. I need you to do this for me, alright? It has to occur. Someone must be listening right now, and it's you. Don't let me down. Alright.
You are allowed to let him down. You are absolutely allowed to let him down. No.
That's the new drink. It's a mug of cum.
What the?
It's a cum mug.
There's got to be a better name for it than. It's cum mug.
No, cum mug is a pretty good name for Harris. and like the thing is just it's just cum mug in like Comic Sans, and there's just like white dripping things like above it. Ew.
What the hell?
And
No, you know that font, Chiller. You know that font.
I guess.
Or Joker.
I don't know how. I'm not an English man, Harry. I don't know fonts.
They do not. What? Hold on. What you think they like? They
I don't have font class.
We don't do. Neither do I.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We don't do Comic Sans.
Mr. Font guy over here knows his
I know a few fonts. That's fine. It's fine to know more than one font. Go on, list them off.
Mr. Font guy over here. If you like fonts so much, name all of them.
I can't fucking name all of them.
Pull up Word right now, Harry.
No.
PowerPoint. And
no, we're not wrapping up. Actually, well, we could do fairly soon. I just wanted to throw some stupid shit out into the ether, though. Because I mentioned...
Was my cum mug not stupid enough?
That was more than stupid enough, but you said that. Shit. You said that, though.
I guess. You need to get your own cum mug out there.
Well, I've already mentioned the house specials I did, but I just like the idea of being able to use craft beers in missions. In a daily special sort of way, but that would be some kind of overhaul, and they would all have different. Obviously, it would be most. I would hope that a lot of the work would be done for you, but you'd almost have this way to like pay for to like bring like craft beer canisters with you, or it would be like a new equipment slot that you could somehow fill out, and you could bring like a couple shots with you. As in, I thought about it, and I thought, hold on, equipment slot that doesn't sound right, but I thought, oh, what if it's something that doesn't actually get replenished though? You bought like 4 like shots of like a craft beer. And you know, it could be as simple as Burning Love would be like a little incendiary grenade, or like, but then like Black Rich Blonde would be a boogie bomb, and you'd throw the canisters, and then like Seasoned Moonrider, you throw it at your feet, and it would give you low gravity for a little bit, things like that.
And what if you were to perchance throw a size enlarger and/or shrinker?
Yeah, I thought about this. Well, obviously, I wouldn't say this is where complications arise, but this would be sort of considered. If they ever considered this, they're like, I guess smaller, you would like, I don't know, move quicker,
have less health, though.
And then if you were bigger, you'd be bigger.
Yeah,
you'd have a lot more health. I don't know.
Kind of. In that, I think the size buckaroonery has potential for perks. I think there is a perk potential there, like an active perk where you would enlarge yourself.
Oh my god!
And or shrink yourself. I'm more fan of the enlarged one because I'd like.
Well, shrink could be useful. It's not all the time that the terrain is really like that, but sometimes it could actually be useful in that sense of actually getting through gaps.
Yeah, I just think it'd be comedic in how big the Glyphids would then. Like That'd be like
comedic.
Since you're in first person, you would literally like their mouths would be all you could see.
Yeah,
and so it would be.
You don't get that small, I don't think. You're not
far off. You go down to like waist height, right? The normal dwarf.
Well, Tyler, I thought it was lower than waist height, and if it was waist height, you wouldn't be like they wouldn't be towering over you, would they?
So what you think is lower than waist height?
Definitely lower than that. Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah, but like the Glyphids' small leg size, like they would be absolutely fucking huge compared to you.
I don't know what Smart Snout would do.
I don't know. You just say the voice line in the cave.
That's great. That's good.
Just like
Blackout Snout. It's like what the fuck?
No, the Smart Snout one. They should add a voice line in the cave where you take the Smart Stout and like, after drinking this drink, I realized bringing Smart Stout down here wasn't exactly the best idea.
Yeah.
So fucking piss out.
I mean, one more special could be interesting too. So I feel like there's some potential there. I mean, it really only came up.
Special could be fucking sick if it just randomly teleports you somewhere in the cave.
Well, I thought I would really love if they would work as like splash, like splash potions, which means you throw it. If it hits you, then it will affect you. But they could all affect the enemies as well, which you can make them bigger and smaller, and you can also teleport them away. But you also, if you throw a Black Reach Blonde and it hits you, you'll start dancing, which is a bad thing. And then that way, see, obviously, it's like, oh, that would be a lot of effort. It's just like, yes, but that's how you get cool features.
Yeah.
So, and obviously that would require them going hard, and that is a hypothetical, obviously. But I think there is reason to maybe some elaboration on the feature, like the house special idea, like having 2 available at one time possibly, and just more drinks in general. I think there's reasonable expectations there. And I wouldn't say we've proven much. What?
Like in beers do needs a strong word, would benefit from an interaction by the devs.
Yes.
A genuine sit there, all of them come together, and they're like, beers. Yay or nay?
I think maybe it's better to say, because you're right. I'm actually glad you said they don't need to do it, because I feel like you tend to be a bit more absolutist. But you're right, they don't need to do it. But the point is that it would be worth doing. Some things are worth doing, even if they don't need to be done.
But not inherently a net positive that is anywhere above other things.
Yeah.
Right? There are a lot of other things that would be better to be done sooner rather than...
I guess it's just because the content that they have the freedom to do stuff with is they have to be more careful with now.
And I think it's worth mentioning in that, like, because I read the argument I hate the most against me.
Did you?
They should probably do other things before then. And I want to clarify, they are to go back and look at other things and older parts of the game and update them before beers. I don't think beers are in dire need in that regard. They shouldn't add anything over beers, right? Nothing else needs to be added before they add beers, right? Like, they shouldn't add a new layer of fucking hazards, or some not has, but like a new end game before they re-interact with beers, right? But as far as going back, perks and overclocks, right? And that's essentially all I can really think of, though, to be honest with you. Those 2 are pretty much it. And
it goes from that, and then after that I possibly go to beers, but I would actually go to just the upgrades, like, for the rest of your equipment. I think they could in general could have a look at. I believe that all equipment should be brought up to 5 tiers. That includes the pickaxe, by the way, and just either the pickaxe needs to be actually dissolved, or should have like more to it, basically.
And they need to remove the glow stick while they're fucking equipment.
Yeah,
I know that it looks nicer because it's there, but all right, either that needs to be there, but you need to be able to switch through it with all the other equipment that you have access to, right? Like, the terrain scanner and the all the shit that you can't interact with in any other way, but you do have in the mission should be there. Or
not at all, or not at all, which includes flares.
Whatever it is currently right now is bad and it's misleading, and that is the entire reason why people are asking for mods on it. If it was not there, people wouldn't be asking for mods on them.
Well, I think they do. This is one of the things they do know about, though, because we've seen them respond to it quite a few times. I can't remember what the responses were. It's usually just in response to, are there going to be flare upgrades? It's like, well, no.
Yeah, and they were like, no. But if you were to tell them, remove the flare upgrades option, like remove it from the equipment stuff, they might be like, yeah, we might need to do that. That way,
it's like, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird because you feel like if you were in their position, you wouldn't not think of that, but maybe you wouldn't. I guess maybe we just wouldn't.
They are thinking about so many other things, right? I mean, why would they be thinking about that?
It's not that. It's really not high up, is it? It's not. But it's still. No, it's still something. It is still something they should do, though. That's the thing. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that should be done that they're not prioritizing, but that makes it feel like it's never going to happen.
Yeah. And I think as far as those things go, beer's like a mid, right? Perks, high tier. Overclocked, high tier.
Perks are in. No, hold on. Beers are in the tier of they deserve it, but they just don't need it. but they do definitely deserve it. As in, it would be very beneficial and worthwhile to address beers as a whole, as a feature. It's just not like it's not like a thorn in their side. And the closest one to that is perks, actually, because I wouldn't say Overclocks at that. I would say Overclocks is actually closer to the beers than the perks, really, where it's just like it would just benefit everyone. I think even people who are like brand new, eventually they'll come to understand like getting new overclocks for the old weapons, just freshening up the old weapons in any way would be appreciated by so many people. So it's definitely worthwhile. But perks are the only major feature that is possibly in some level of need. It's possible.
Yeah.
Them
and the community kind of all agree that it's about time. Yeah,
but that's why it's not. That's why it's not next season though, and that's why season 4 I think should be either perks or not perks, either beers or overclocks. And it looks like it will. It looks like it might be. As in, it's not like overclocks have been mentioned, and as far as we know, we're only getting one beer. So actually, that kind of makes it like neither. But
this season 4 is new enemies, right? Obviously, it's not equipment, but it is the same niche. It is a game, part of the game they haven't interacted with a while. They are now doing that.
But it will be. I mean, it's hard to imagine. I'd be really interested if the enemies aren't seasonally infused, because they should be.
They could be, but they don't. They're not supposed to be. Right?
I understand what you mean in terms of that, like that slot, but it's still not the same type of content.
It's not equipment, but it is them adding something that they haven't added in a while. Right, that's the point.
But the thing we want is for that to be the point of the season, though. As in, that's what it's themed around. That's never
going to be the case. I don't think that's inherently the case. They could easily say that, right? They can do whatever the fuck they want with the season thing, but they could easily do Rockport Part 2 plus Hoxie's is up to something, and there's a bunch of new enemies. Or Rockpooks is up to something is the entire thing. Or new random threat. The cacti people have come for their sandblasted corridors.
Holy shit!
And Hoxie's is up to something, right? Like they could do whatever the fuck they want. Either way, we're getting new enemies in the new enemy pool, and that is where I think the them going back, reinforcing their foundation is coming from season 4. Then season 5, we're going to be looking at the perk rework, I would imagine. At any point, we could expect to see overclocks, and then after that, maybe some beers. Beer, not inherently more like craft beers, but really is specifically daily specials.
Yeah,
they need to be addressed.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. That's why it's it really probably isn't. This is the kind of thing that really probably isn't happening in season 4, right? Season 4, like the wording and whatever, it's just like. They just had an idea.
I know, just adding a beer.
Yeah, and it's like the other thing we're talking about is like it becoming something they've decided to focus on, at least in some capacity for a season. It's one of the season's main points.
Yeah, it's like how they addressed perks. It was like they didn't say, "Oh yeah, we're adding perks." Like, people were saying, "Just add perks. Come on, new perks." They're like, "No, we need to sit back. We need to readjust perks." Right, there is an issue, or it's not exactly how we intend it, or something along those lines. Right, it's not quite perfect. We're going back to the drawing boards and we're sorting it out.
I'm still really happy that perks is like something that they've got on it's something they're going to do, but it's like it's not like the next thing. And I feel like we didn't actually give them I feel like we didn't give them the credit for that, even though we were sort of hoping it would happen. Because it didn't feel like that. Obviously, it wasn't like on the roadmap. Because it should have been on the roadmap, and I hope it will be when we get that roadmap.
Yeah, but like I think it is it is the next thing, but it's not the now thing, right? And we appreciated that because we realized the now thing is likely to be disappointing, right? I mean, it is a fact that season 4 will be disappointing, right? It could still be very, very good, but it's 8 months. It will be disappointing. It's kind of how that's.
I mean, if you're stupid, I mean, I'm good at that shit, right? As in, I can stop it from disappointing.
On the fucking pulse, Harry. you've been like, okay, this is why, this is why, this is why. As far as anyone else is concerned, it's been 8 months. Where's the content? This is the content. Are you taking the piss?
That's actually genuinely a good point. And it's not that I feel this way about Ghost Ship in any way, but it interests me. We haven't seen something like that, where it's like we haven't seen the community question them almost. I mean, it feels like sometimes it does happen, but I mean in a sense of like every time an update comes out, it's nothing but hype around the launch. I do want to, even though I don't feel this way because I'm like you said, my finger's still on the pulse. I want to see people be like, "This, why did this take so long?" I want to see people saying that because I feel like Ghost Ship hasn't had that before.
Yeah, the issue is that no one's gonna get away with saying that, right? Like, not to mention, most people generally won't think of it because it's like it's vice versa, right? It does require you to be slightly toxic and have stopped paying attention to the game, right? Because most other people, they were like, stop playing Deep Rock a while ago, come back, oh, new update, cool, without even thinking about how long it's been, right? It requires you being like midway. You stopped playing, you stopped paying attention, and you come back and you're like, okay, it's been about 8 months, and this is it. Like, it's you've got to be the exact right type of person, and I don't think those people are going to actively shit on the game so publicly because no one does that and get away with it, right? That's not something you get away with in the Deep Rock community. And it's just kind of sticky in that it's true, but not many people will point it out. All right, like, but yeah, I don't know. I think Season 4 does look to be good. I still think
hold on.
I will
do you think this is reasonable? Because I am expecting Season 4 to be better than Season 2 and 3. Yeah. That's reasonable. And by better, I do include slightly more as well in that.
I'm not sure about that.
There should be slightly more content in Season 4 than Season 3.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, I genuinely don't think they started working on it until like January, February, around there, January, February, right?
Yes,
I'm thinking.
And with February. And thinking of that, I still believe it should be slightly more than Season 3.
Yeah, because Season 3, they took the month off break in the middle. They worked on the summer event and then Oktoberfest and Halloween, right? They did do all that stuff.
This is the thing. I think they actually banged out Season 3 in actually a weirdly short amount of time. Almost. Not weird. No, I don't mean that. I just mean they were. They just. I don't know. I think they're almost quicker at making main content than it feels like they are. Only because I think the actual main content updates are more spaced out than their speed is. As in, if they were only making main content updates and they weren't making events or patches even, they could probably make a season every 3 months. But it's because their like entire workflow has to be focused on almost like one thing at a time. I think it's how it seems like how it works. That's why it doesn't really happen that way. But they get the thing done that they're doing actually quite fast. It seems like, as long as they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
so also you can include planning as well in that. I just mean when it comes to literal production of content that they've planned to make, I think they are actually quite quick at it.
Yeah, considering their size. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing as well that indie teams tend to be very quick because they're just more efficient, right? Like, they don't have the giant company interrupting itself issues. It's just a group of people just going 100%, right? Nothing stopping them. They all know what they're doing. Boom, done.
But it also tends to lead to less consistency. And unfortunately, by snapping the label of a seasonal model in your game, people will expect a certain amount of consistency. And I've learned to, like, part of it is like learning to try and view it like the old updates still. But the problem is, the seasonal model, they acknowledge that part of the point of it is that it gives them a minimum to make every update. And that means that there's going to be every update is going to be at least in part actually the same, no matter how long they take. You know?
Yeah.
And the way they can avoid that, I was thinking like maybe because it's been a bit longer, you could at least maybe have some new armors in the cosmetic tree or something this time. It doesn't have to be the exact same amount as usual. Maybe you could just add those, and that would actually be a lot
because you
better.
would imagine that honestly, the actual pass they probably finished ages ago, right?
Like exactly, but it's like you think about it. You think about it. It should be more though, right? Shouldn't it? Or even like ideally, it actually shouldn't be. Ideally, season 3 would have had a longer pass. Obviously, you can't quite predict that. You shouldn't make a season expecting it to be longer because that means it will take longer on it, and then it will take long. Like it will just take longer for the next one to come out. So season 4 should still have the same length pass, but you could throw something like new armors in the cosmetic tree. It's like. That's pretty good. But it's like they kind of need to show up for the other stuff, but it's like the performance pass and cosmetic tree is probably going to be the same level of content. I mean, it's not going to be longer. The pass certainly. It's like there's certain things they can't really improve on almost, especially if they're going to stick to the formula so tightly. And it seems like they found the formula with that stuff. So it's like, and also they also shouldn't go beyond more than one event per season because that means they can focus on the other content, right? As in they should stick to a formula so that stuff can be done easily, so that if there is a longer wait, then the actual main content can be worth the wait.
Yeah, like I don't know. It seems like they've added a minimum, but it's taking longer. You know what I mean, right? Like you would expect a minimum means that they could get it out at a reasonable rate, right? The minimum, we do this much and then we can get it out, but they always seem to do more than the minimum.
Yeah,
it seems, right?
But the minimum also gives an expectation that is actually met every time, which actually makes it feel like there's less, because it means there is less that's actually new, because even though it's all new cosmetics, it's still being added into the same system that feels relatively the same in terms of progressing through the pass and actually interacting with the pass and cosmetic tree.
That doesn't feel different. Isn't new content. Right, it's not a new content that you can engage in a new way, right? No,
but that only feels weird because that's not how it used to be. Even though adding to something is good, it means they're not introducing new systems every season because that's not necessarily a good idea. I just mean it's like that's why seasonal models imply regularity. Why though? Because of the minimum that doesn't change. Which is why longer gaps are not a good thing. You're trying to do a seasonal model, and I don't know if they. It's just it's just hard to tell if they know that or not. Is the thing, and I think they do because I don't think they're as like. This is like a seasonal model like every other game seasonal model. But they haven't. It's not like they felt like old Deep Rock updates either, though. That's the thing, and that's part of what the gap makes me feel like. Maybe it will feel more like an old Deep Rock update because they've given themselves more time, like they used to, and also just adding to the thing that we know we're getting. Also feels a bit more like that as well.
So, yeah, I think
go off basically.
In that we're looking at something that we could draw a pretty strong parallel here. We can compare this to update 33, right? That was new enemies.
As in the biomes one?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because that's biomes and dreadnoughts.
Biomes and dreadnoughts and new enemies. And we're going to be able to look at that update and this one. And I think we can actually evaluate from there, really. In the, will this add as much content as that? Yay or nay? Right? Like, are they... yeah,
that's the thing with these gaps. They should be matching, if not surpassing, the amount of the quantity of those updates. But part of it is put, or even possibly a lot of it is put into the performance pass, the cosmetic tree, and the seasonal events. But we know we're getting those already, so they don't feel as much like something that's been added. It helps if you just acknowledge that as well. Obviously, we're aware of that, so that's going to help us manage expectations.
But honestly, it could be really interesting because we could actually very reasonably get an update incredibly similar to it, right? Obviously, new enemies, the normal pool, like the Mactera variants, right? That kind of stuff. But then it would be quite reasonable for us to get a industrial sabotage rework, right? Like, how we got elimination rework essentially with the new dreadnoughts, right?
That would be a good thing to do, actually. Or yeah, it would be industrial sabotage actually, because we're not going to get into that. But I've seen obviously there's been a couple like mission tier lists recently, and industrial sabotage is the one that gets it's the one that gets segregated.
Yeah.
I'll see one that's like, oh, all the other missions, and then industrial sabotage is like, industrial sabotage. It's like it's an industrial sabotage tier.
Yeah, you need to just bear in mind, what it takes for the Ghost Ship to act, and the constant hatred towards industrial sabotage that is it is past the rivals at this point.
It's also a bit more long term too.
Anymore.
Exactly, because it kind of started then.
Industrial sabotage, and so it is at this point in time the biggest sore spot in the community. I imagine if you were to ask most people in the community what you hate most about this game, industrial sabotage would come up a lot.
Yeah, right? It's not even a sore spot. It's a bit more like a scar that could be healed, right? You have things like the promotion thing, or actually that's the best example. Actually, that's more like a blister that sort of came out of nowhere because some I don't know if you think of Deep Rock as like a person. It just burned itself in the kitchen, and then the blister came up very quickly, and the Ghost Ship popped it. But like a scar requires, I don't know, or like a really deep wound. It's it requires surgery. It's different. Yeah. You don't just pop pop the blister. You got to perform surgery.
Right? They tried a really half-assed surgery when during going into season 3.
Back alley surgery.
Yeah, back alley surgery going into season 3. They were like, "Oh, we'll do these light changes to try and make the mission more pleasant, but re-add it into the normal pool." It failed. Didn't work. And another light approach also won't work.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like that the fact that they've already tried it to me makes it less likely, unfortunately. But it's like
I agree with you. But exactly, it is literally it's too big of an issue for them to ignore.
I know exactly. That's exactly right. Because I might be right in saying that it's less likely because they've already tried it. But the fact that it needs to happen. But the point is, it needs to happen again. Still,
it is literally. It is like, we get that you tried, but you fucking failed. Do it again. Do it better. Right? And I think the vast majority of the community and Ghost Ship know that. Right? Yeah. No one thinks the game is better. It's actually the change they made in season 3 made it worse. Putting it into the normal pool, everyone hates it. Everyone. And the people that hated it before, they're now forced to play it. It was worse. So they can't say that they changed it, therefore they can give up now. They did their best. They made it worse. Come on. Pull your thumb out your fucking ass and sort that game mode out. While you're at it, escort Dewey, but we're not there yet, because not a vast majority of the community is spitting in your face saying this piece of shit needs to sort itself out, right? And they know it, which is why I think we really, really should see a actual dedicated, notable, industrial sabotage rework, right? We're talking elimination tier. That added 2 more bosses. That essentially it wasn't much to it, but you know what I mean? It basically tripled the game mode, if you know what I mean. And it's interaction. It needs a lot of effort to try and make it anything close to playable. And if they can't do it, if they don't think they could do it, take it out of the pool. Take it out. Take it out.
Yeah, there's sort of it's like they pride themselves on their flexibility, and actually, when it comes to the things that they're very strict on, I actually tend to agree with them. I think the overclock grind, as in a lot of people still want them to go further, but they're like, look, guys, we had our foot down on this for a very, very long time in terms of not giving you more overclocks. We've done something about it now, and that will be it. I can guarantee you, anyone listening, I can get. They have spoken about it. They have spoken about how it's something that they're very they believe in is the overclock grind and the randomness of it, and they don't want to give people more choice. So they put their foot down on was not giving you more choice. They just gave you more cores. It's not like you got ones for your class from promoting. It was still completely random. They believe in the RNG of that system. So I guarantee you will never see more added to that. But obviously, this is already something that you hadn't put your foot down on because you knew that industrial sabotage needed to change because of the way it was originally implemented. It was clear you never intended it for it to stay as this ultra special mission, but your attempt to bring it down from that level didn't work, and there's no point being strict about how it is now. It will not benefit you. And it wouldn't be a waste of time. It might feel like it is because it's not adding new content, and I get that, especially as like an argument that other people might make. But I wouldn't. I don't see how. I don't see why you would. What?
They see the value in a game mode that's lacking behind helping it, right? That's what the elimination was. Elimination was kind of ass. Not many people enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lacking boss fight game mode. Then they got involved. It's definitely one of the best now, right?
Yeah, I saw someone actually say it was the worst. That was pretty interesting. They thought it was like,
and only they're the only one that thinks that, right?
He got people didn't agree with him. They definitely didn't.
Yeah. If the same person said, "Hey, Industrial Sabotage is the worst game mode," everyone's like, "Yep, all around." And the only other people would be like, "It's not that bad." Everyone's like, "Shut the fuck up." Like it's literally, it's one of those things. It's the GK is too underpowered. It's the robots are too strong, even though they kind of well, they in fairness, they did do that, right? They nerfed the shit out of patrol bots, and people did seem to shut up.
But now people have realised that it wasn't always just the robots; it was also just that mission. And that's why Rival Presence is fine. I think Rival Presence is a perfectly good warning, but that mission, anyway. But it's hard not to come back to these things only because it takes a while for the next thing to be addressed. But there's always something, and I guess if you look at season 3, it's like, what was like the big thing? I guess it was the GK2, and that's the thing. It sort of varies because the GK2 that was like big, but it's not as important to the game as a whole as an entire mission type.
Yeah.
But it's only ever one of those things, even if they vary in how important they are. Which is why it's like it takes a while to see what the next thing's going to be. And I don't blame them for not like tackling more than one of those issues every season because they probably shouldn't. But for season 3, season 4 it's going to be this because season 3 I guess had the GK2 and them trying this. Well,
they're trying to bring it into the normal pool, and because they weren't trying to make this game mode inherently better, right? Like, I mean, obviously tried to make it more playable in the normal pool, but they didn't. I don't think they realized how fucked it was, right? But they did try and make the robots better because everyone always complained about them, right? They were like, "Yeah, we'll make them reasonable," right? Like piss, arguably. But yeah, I think we could be very much looking at the same kind of. The internet
right, back. Yeah, Tyler cut out for a few seconds.
All right, yeah. Basically, it looks like we're going to be hitting the same notes. New normal enemies in the pool, a game mode rework, which was elimination. Now industrial sabotage. I think it would definitely do it, and biome is reasonable, right? The seasonal content, which is likely a thing because they seem to like adding that. Game mode would be weird. A fucking a warning. I would shoot myself.
Well, Tyler, this is the perfect because I mentioned how it would be really hard for me to be really confusing if the new enemies weren't seasonally infused, but it makes sense when you look towards either of those 2 updates that added new enemies. Part of it was actually biome specific. The first big enemy drop, which was hopefully what this is going to be more like, because that was almost exclusively just more enemies. Part of it was also adding all the exclusion zone variants. This time, it would be a good idea to have the seasonal theme. The theme be either a new biome or, ideally a new biome, and then some of the enemies would be variants or exclusive enemies to that biome. But maybe half or maybe even more than half of them would be just new enemies in general, and then they'd be infused in that way, wouldn't it? That's almost what you'd expect if we were getting a new biome in this season.
And what I'm saying is that if that occurs, which I think there is merit to believing so.
There's absolutely merit because it's been a while. Would you say it's been a while? It kind of
considering
has.
Game mode warning. I mean,
The warning
game
again.
mode, and Yeah, we're not never a warning again, right? If they add another warning again, they've lost touch. They've lost touch. They have no idea what they're doing unless there's something else with it, right? But if the warning is the main source of content, then they need to look at their community and actually like look at them, right? Because no one wants warnings. No one would rather like secondary objectives rather than fucking warnings, right? We've had enough. 2 fucking seasons, over a year at this point, right?
Well, I think I might have explained at some point why season 4 I'm a little bit more confident in, because I think there's a lot of signs about season 3 that you could point to that there wasn't much focus, and they were sort of just like, okay, we've got to do like just do new grenades, and it's like, and then like when it came to the rest of the content, it was sort of just focused around trying to accommodate this theme that they'd come up with, right? Rather than creating a theme around a good idea for new content they had. It's like they didn't have a good idea for a new warning. They had a good idea for a theme, and they tried to make to make something to accommodate it. I think this time around, that's why I hope that the new enemies are partially or possibly mostly seasonally infused. Is because that means the theme would have been created around them, and adding new enemies is already inherently a good idea. Especially or adding a new biome is an inherently good idea, and that's why it's like I don't see how there's a better way to do things than theme coming second. Personally, I think theme should always come second, because season 3 reads to me like theme came first, and that's why it didn't work as well. I think I might be onto something there. Maybe.
Especially since themes are temporary.
Yeah,
incredibly temporary. And so they shouldn't grab a hold of that season, because it will just mean it's worse in the long run. And I mean, that's what happened to robots and industrial sabotage. They got lost in and I wouldn't say theme inherently that time round, but they got lost in the mission. They took it too far, and it is now worse off in the long run, right? Like that is a thing they seem to kind of struggle with, the long run. And it's what happens when you only think of things in that moment, right?
Well, yeah, but then that's why we like appreciate them having like perks being something they want to work on, but not yet.
Actually thinking ahead.
Yeah, it's like a really good sign. It reminds me of like when they planned like to do the 3rd generation of weapons, and that was like we knew they were going to do that at least like one update before it started happening, before like Gen 3 started, before we got the primaries. It was planned. There was like at least an update. It was like we found out that stuff, and there was at least one more update before the updates that introduced those weapons. So it's like that's actually a good sign, I think. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I don't know. I don't see what that has to do with drinks. I don't see what that has to do with... Although that's classic. I mean, that's fine actually, because we actually got good mileage out of the drinks part. Like, wait a good deal more than like the minimum time, and we also tacked on like a decent rant. Didn't go too. I don't think it went too far. It's pretty usual ground to cover though. It probably won't stop. I definitely don't want to do it every time, but it's not going to stop being covered until something happens, especially with industrial sabotage. It's just because I believe it should change. So I feel like I don't want to do it. Like I said, not every time, but I'm also not going to entirely let that go until something happens.
Yeah.
So there you go, Ghost Ship. We're holding you hostage.
Yeah. Right. That was our anniversary year. Are you actually going to put like the anniversary in the like thumbnail?
This is about it's about drinks.
Right, good. So the anniversary is if you're on here and you've noticed it, or noticed it, you've heard us talk about it. But yeah, okay. Saves some confusion.
Yeah. Tom, would you like to give any parting words?
I hope not.
Same. Let's try and wrap this up quickly. And then this is listening, in which case, obviously, he'll interrupt at the very last second. But I will just stop the recording. So, if you're listening, right. Tom, you got that. Okay? So, if you enjoyed this, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to, like, subscribe, and eat a bowl of cereal. Goodbye.
Stone in that.
Yeah. Stone.